drivers by signing up for your Alabama Distinctive PTSD Awareness license plate today. The great thing is you can sign up no matter when your current plate renews, and the first year is complimentary. All you need is your VIN number on hand. Drive awareness, drive hope, and customize your plate today at atease.org.
The trial of a Mobile drug dealer has ended with 3 people being convicted for taking part in the drug operation. Glennie McGee was identified by prosecutors as the kingpin. His wife, Echanza Maxey, and her sister, Excaviera Maxey, were accomplices in the drug network. It also involved cartels from Mexico who supplied the fentanyl pills. The Central Alabama Water Board held a training exercise that included federal cybersecurity experts. The cybersecurity team came to Birmingham in order to help the state protect its largest water utility and to be proactive in preventing these potential attacks. The CAW acknowledged that it is the state's largest water utility, but also said there are more than 100 other water utilities throughout Alabama, and the CAW will include these other utilities in future exercises in order to help shore up security throughout the state. I'm Andrea Tice.
For more news affecting Alabamians, go to 1819news.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the daily newsletter.
This holiday, make your home feel merry, bright, and beautifully furnished. Royal Furniture is celebrating the season with royal savings on living rooms, bedrooms, dining sets, and more. Right now, unwrap doorbuster deals and fast delivery. Need credit? Get the Royal Credit for any credit situation. Whether you're hosting the whole family or gifting comfort to yourself, it's the Royal Furniture Holiday Savings Event going on now. Royal Furniture in Auburn, Prattville, and Eastern Boulevard in Montgomery.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's News and Views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
Hold on to your butts.
I'm a better looking person than Kamala.
After damning politicians uphill and down dale for many years as rogues, vagabonds, frauds, and scoundrels, I sometimes suspected, like everyone else, I often expect too much of them.
This is a Trump country. We live in the Southeast. We drink sweet tea. We don't drink socialist Kool-Aid.
Joey Clark.
Welcome into the program. I'm your host, Joey Clark. We got a lot of new polling information out. Also, a new breakdown of what will be 2030 apportionment forecast based on new census data. Also, a lot of women hating on women. And I'm here for it. I love seeing these virtual cat fights. Also, of course, in politics, Tom Homan has been picked by Trump to head up now the Minnesota op. Bavina wasn't, fired from Border Patrol. The guy was running things at large. He's just gone back to his old gig. And a lot of questions about, will Kristi Noem be fired after a 2-hour meeting was reported between her and Trump? And Trump was asked that on the way to Marine One just a few minutes ago, and Trump said, no, she's not leaving. So, we'll see, as also, it looks like Walls and Fry or whatever that mayor of Minneapolis' name is. It seems that after the call with Trump, all of a sudden you're seeing scenes of state patrol there in Minneapolis and in Minnesota actually cracking down on, hoodlums, on these just crazy folks out there. It's interesting how that works. So we'll get into why is Trump deploying Homan in particular. And again, the guy that Barack Obama gave an award for all his great work, getting all these immigrants out of the country during the Obama administration. As we laid out yesterday, more people died at the hands of ICE during Obama's many years. And in fact, there will always be mistakes, but the mistake rate of the Obama years is much higher than even what we've seen for the first year and month or so of Trump. And yet, of course, perception is reality in this day and age. is it not? Perception is reality. But then, on top of all this going on in domestic politics and the women on women hating, which I am very much here for, the new apportionment forecast, or again, this 2028 new primary poll, they picked 4 candidates, and Pete Buttigieg, AOC, Kamala Harris, and Gavin Newsom. And how do Democrat voters look at those 4? And we have demographic breakdowns of all that. So there's a lot going on, including Al Gore's Inconvenient Truth turns 20 years old, a legacy of failed predictions. Like, super cereal, guys. A popular candy is loaded with arsenic. Florida's Department of Health has tested a lot of very popular candies, finding high levels of arsenic. And if you eat them all the time, especially if you're a child, this could be quite harmful to you. Oh, and by the way, the USS Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group has entered the Middle East theater as Trump is pressuring to make yet another deal with Iran. But on top of all that, folks, we're closer to midnight. That is what the Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists has said. They're out with a new reset or update of their Doomsday clock. And let's listen in to what these nerds have to say.
It is the determination of the Bulletin's Science and Security Board that humanity has not made sufficient progress on the existential risks that endanger us all. We thus move the clock forward. The Doomsday Clock is a tool for communicating how close we are to destroying the world with technologies of our own making. The risks we face from nuclear weapons, climate change, and disruptive technologies are all growing. Every second counts, and we are running out of time. Our truth, but this is our reality.
Oh, look, they're turning the little thing. Oh, no.
It is now 85 seconds to midnight. This is the closest the world has ever been to midnight.
Yeah, more like 85 seconds closer to being super gay. Like, what is, like, they got to get their presentation better here. Like, that didn't scare me at all.
Where was the Vanna White type lady to turn the clock around?
Right.
They could have gone with a little bit better theatrics than the.
Yeah, oh yeah. Byron Sheehy here in the studio with me.
Come on. I mean, if you're going to try to use that sort of scare tactic, at least make it a little entertaining. That was lame.
Yeah, this is why I'm
Bad.
like, this is lame. I'm using gay in the middle school way. It really is just lame, gay, and we'll get to the retarded women. But I didn't say that. I'm just quoting another woman talking about the retardation of many women on Instagram and Facebook. We'll get to that. But yeah, I see that and I go, are we even, does this wake up anybody? That a bunch of nerds got together and go, well, you know, AI could be dangerous and so could nukes. Like, yeah,
Where have
really?
those people been? I mean, this is bizarre to me.
Like, thanks for the update.
Welcome to the party, pal.
Right. No, and honestly, I think we're on a knife's edge in a way of like, yes, you could predict doom and gloom easily. Doom and gloom all day, every day. But we could also be on the cusp of something truly remarkable. And I think people forget that often.
What were the reasons for moving it up 85 seconds to midnight?
There is
I
an
love that line.
INF treaty that is, or START treaty that's expiring.
Someone's always got an agenda.
Mm-hmm. There's a START treaty that's expiring. And I think Trump's on board of wanting to actually make, he pulled out of the old one, and INF, I believe, I don't have it all right in front of me, and off the top of my head, I'm not a, weapons specialist or anything like that, or international treaties regarding, weapons of mass destruction. But I think Trump pulled out initially in his first term of INF when they were claiming the Russians were cheating on it. And hopefully, Trump said at the beginning of this term, he wants a big, at least trilateral denuclearization agreement with the Chinese, the Russians. Maybe you can throw North Korea into that. If you start getting all these big players together, that's why he in particular wants to end a lot of wars and reset the table of geopolitics and trade as we go in that direction.
I'm going to be bold and say we hear a lot of trilateral talk in 2026.
It's possible. It depends. There's a few chess pieces that need to be moved before the big players, especially China and the United States, are the two big dogs. India's playing kind of a brilliant game of everybody having multiple irons in the fire. We'll see if they actually have the stuff to last playing all different sides, but they are a key piece to the puzzle. But yeah, no, apparently it's like Nukes are dangerous. We know. AI might kill us all. Yeah, we know.
Yeah.
Including the people building it. No, even Elon's constantly joking. Yeah, we got to, there might be a 20% chance this stuff destroys us all.
That's what's crazy to me is like all the people involved with that. They're like, yeah, the train's already left the station. We're making too much money on this. It's kind of going to be what it's going to be.
Yeah,
Everybody
but then,
enjoy the ride.
Then I saw a post though today saying this is the crap is why you have $1,000 RAM. Just get to add to your computer. And it was a video, AI generated video of an orange cat doing a close grip row, just in as a bro with the belt out and the headband on, just
strong kitty,
strong cat. Yeah. And I'm like, you know what? That's worth the RAM being a little more expensive.
Energy costs be down.
I don't know the Doomsday thing. If they want to actually scare us, they got to get better than going. Stuff is really bad, and let's turn this little display of ours, this little clock of ours. It could be a little more...
She didn't do it for me. I need somebody that's got, the CEO of Palantir, his hair. I need
Alex
somebody
Karp.
that looks truly alarmed.
Yeah, straight up autism.
She didn't do it for me.
Yeah, highly functional autism. That can scare a lot of people.
Kind of manic a little bit.
Yeah, Alex Karp in particular is. But let's hear it again. Maybe we're judging it too quickly. Let's listen to it at least.
It is the determination of the Bulletin's Science and Security Board.
It's the Bulletin of Atomic Scientists, folks.
Hi, Carl.
That humanity has not made sufficient progress on the existential risks that endanger us all. We thus move the clock forward.
The
Doomsday clock is a tool for communicating how close we are to destroying the world with technologies of our own making.
It is a tool. It is a tool, all right.
The risks we face from nuclear weapons, climate change, and
climate change, huh? See, and that's where I'm just not. I can't take it seriously because today we have the 20th anniversary of Al Gore's An Inconvenient Truth. What won an Oscar, right?
Yeah, but we're still having conversations about this. What was it? Last week or WEF?
World Economic Forum.
Yeah, I mean, they were still talking climate change and carbon. I mean,
yes.
Come on, guys. Agendas, man. I mean, it's what we were just talking about with this.
So it's nuclear weapons, which I agree. Annie Jacobson's book I think the last book she came out with last year, it will blow your hair back of one tactical nuke, and it could be the whole thing goes up in flames because people get freaked out and start pushing buttons, and they want to be the firstest with the mostest. Sorry to quote that fella from the South, but seriously,
that's what it was always going to be.
Yes.
I don't think any theorist or academic or student has ever been taught.
Her book was based off of getting access to actual old nuclear war games and plans. And so she lays out in scary, that's what they should have done, just scary detail of how this could go wrong in so many different ways. So nukes are known. But then if your next thing is climate change,
Well, you kind of lost me when their second thing was AI, really.
Well, they're going to keep going. So nukes, climate change.
disruptive technologies.
Disruptive technologies, that's what she means by AI, I guess. And I guess bioengineering as well, and genetic editing, and nanotechnology.
Weather modification.
Yeah, oh, yeah. The Greenlanders, you're telling me off air, the Greenlanders, we didn't see them. They struck us. Father Winter is on their side.
That was great. The preemptive strike.
That blizzard, by the way, in certain parts, like my brother lives in Nashville. They're okay and have power, thank God. But I was just in Nashville a few months ago. It does not look recognizable. That is unreal.
Some of the images I've seen from Brentwood, I mean, it looks completely bombed out.
And then, of course, I still, as I was leaving my house, have a tree through my roof.
I heard about that.
Yeah. And I'm sitting there trying to get ready for the show, like watching them through the back porch window. And like, there's a few they took off the roof. It was a fairly violent roll. Like,
oh, so you're watching it for entertainment value and not like, when are they going to finish the job?
Oh, I'm more watching it like they better not F up. Like, please do not destroy more of the house than is necessary.
Yeah,
and so they seem to be doing a good job when I left, but they had gotten all the accessory branches and limbs and the big old trunk still sitting and stuck inside the roof a good bit. But,
sorry about that, buddy.
Yeah, they'll figure it out. But it's interesting watching it. And I'm like, man, I don't know if I can do that job.
You got a much better gig, I can promise you.
It's one thing to like use a chainsaw to cut up stuff that's like on the ground or close to the ground. But when it's like, okay, let me chainsaw this thing that's above my head with an extended, 8-foot pole. Yeah.
If I got to worry about going to the hospital every day, that's not my gig.
Though some people live for that. Some people love the danger, or love the adrenaline, or love the effort, the little bit of adversity.
God love them. Not this one.
Yeah. It was never in the cards for me either. I have to be very motivated to take a risk. I'll put it that way.
No, I mean, I like a good adrenaline rush, just like the next guy. But getting up on a roof every day, I did it for about half a day one summer when I was in 12th grade. That's what prompted me to really commit to higher education at that point.
Yeah, I think I helped. It was just a small job my dad wanted to do himself. I helped move some shingles up a ladder, and it's like, oh, good. It's like, I don't want to do this.
It's hard work, man.
Yeah, and then construction cleanup, shingles, I think, were the worst. Like, actually, like, moving those asphalt shingles around is like a pain in the butt because they're deceptively heavy and not exactly, they move around on you. It's not like solid and sturdy. And that and brick. It's not like brick's heavy necessarily, other than you get a wheelbarrow full, but like brick is just, I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
Got to be country strong, Joey.
Yeah, some of those fellas, the strong men are the strong men, whatever. But, there's country strong folks out there.
It's a different kind, man.
Well, and watch out for some of those country boys from the Austrian mountains. Like, they're a different breed. But we already forgot that we were listening to these atomic scientists. So they said it was nukes, climate change.
Disruptive technology.
And disruptive technology.
Are all growing.
Yes.
Every second counts.
Right.
And we are running out of time. It is a hard truth, but this is our reality.
So she got a little more dramatic there, but then it goes to a guy not just wearing a suit. A suit is fine, but he is wearing a sweater under his jacket where you can see the little tie knot above the sweater. He's wearing a sweater vest probably with his suit. So they go to sweater vest guy with the salt and pepper hair after she gives us, we're running out of time. And what does sweater vest guy do?
Vanna's job.
He just turns the clock.
It is now 85 seconds to midnight. This is the closest the world has ever been to midnight.
He's so proud of himself.
This is the closest the world's ever been to midnight. Actually, maybe the world's always coming to an end.
One day
Seriously.
at a time.
One day at a time. One person at a time. Because, in the fullness of time, that you die and then we're at Judgment Day, that could be like that because you're dead. And then, long sleep and you wake up and you go, wow, it's 10 hours later. Oh, my goodness.
So long as I get to where I'm meant to be, it's fine by me, man.
Yeah. Yeah, all the talk of nukes and stuff, and it's like, well, I really would like to just avoid the lake of fire. How about that? That would be nice.
It seems like these people are trying to get us there a little bit more quickly.
But not with that sort of scare tactic. That's not scaring me at all. But let's stick on the climate change thing, because 20 years ago, it actually was yesterday, Monday. 20 years ago, former Vice President Al Gore's documentary on global warming, An Inconvenient Truth, premiered at the Sundance Film Festival and received a standing ovation. The 2006 documentary was released to theaters the following May and went on to gross over $25 million worldwide. Gore's film was a primary catalyst for the climate activist movement, and it generated a lot of concern about global warming following its release. The movie left audiences with the impression that the human race was hurtling towards a dystopian future on a planet baking in unbearable temperatures where extreme weather caused frequent disasters. Almost 13 years to the day after its release, Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was telling people the world would end in 12 years, presumably 5 years from now, because of the burning of fossil fuels. Matt Walicki, who's been on the show, actually. He was formerly at the University of Alabama. Yeah, he was once the assistant professor at the Department of Geological Sciences at the University of Alabama. But he writes about climate and energy on his Irrational Fear Substack. In the early part of his academic career, he actually taught at a local college before the University of Alabama. He says that he showed an inconvenient truth to his students at the time. He admits it. Over time, he began to question the gloom and doom narratives, though, Gore presents in the film. People took that as a starting point, and they just kept running further and further with it. Gore's film, however, was full of numerous predictions that turned out to be wrong. And it's likely that the world will not end in 2031, though maybe the nerds at the Bulletin of Atomic Scientists are right, even though their presentation was lame and gay.
So 2006?
Yeah, 2006.
And COVID was when?
Like 2020.
So we had a run of bad science.
Oh, yeah, we've had a bunch of bad science. And also, have they figured out the whole like quantum mechanics, string theory thing yet?
I don't
They've been working at it for a few decades.
Well, string theory's kind of...
I'm not going to solve it. I mean, but you have this theory of the very, very small and the very, very big, and they both kind of work practically in their own way. They allow us to do amazing things, especially look at what SpaceX is doing and so many other breakthroughs. But the theory of the very, very small and theory of the very, very big, they don't agree with one another. And they've been trying to solve this problem for a while, and it's like, well, y'all still working on it?
There was actually a breakthrough there.
There is.
Mm-hmm. I'll show it to you.
There's all sorts of new, interesting things there. The problem with the breakthroughs in that world is unless I think you actually reconcile the big and the small, we'll see.
One guy kind of did.
I'm here for it. But let's get back to Al Gore's predictions. Among the predictions Gore made in the documentary is that Africa's Mount Kilimanjaro. Isn't that in the Toto song?
I don't know who sang it. I wasn't a Toto fan.
Isn't Kilimanjaro mentioned in Africa by Toto?
If Toto sang Africa, then yeah.
Yeah, that's Toto.
Okay.
Oh, that's Toto.
Okay.
But he claimed that Mount Kilimanjaro would have no more snow on it by 2016. In 2020, the New York Times reported that the snow on the 19,000-foot mountain remained, despite Gore's predictions. But the documentary had caused some to rush to climb the mountain before the snow disappeared. Instead, the tourists are surprised to find glaciers still clinging to it. Gore also predicted that Glacier National Park would be, quote, the park formerly known as Glacier after all the ice melted away and the blazing hot temperatures that were to descend upon the human race. The claim made a big mark, and federal agencies began looking closely at glaciers. The U.S. Geological Survey predicted all the glaciers in the park would be gone by 2020. Signs were placed throughout the park warning visitors of the impending end of glaciers, which never happened. Instead, CNN reported the signs had to be removed in 2020 when it was clear the glaciers remained. Gore also connected Hurricane Katrina to global warming. Man, you remember that clip of Kanye next to Mike Myers? George Bush hates black people or something like that. It's like, what a journey Kanye's been on. Did you see he wrote an apology about all the Nazis? He apologized to Jewish people and black people, saying he had an accident and his head's not. It's like, well, that's kind of obvious. But he still's got the talent. I'll tell you what, he still has the gift of a hook and a great song writer. But
all right, so real quickly, just looked up how much money has been made off climate change, and this says 2.8 trillion off all the climate garbage.
Oh, I'm sure. But he predicted after Hurricane Katrina, Gore did, and again, they used to call it global warming. They now call it climate change because the warming didn't really pan out.
Didn't age well, did
But
it?
he predicted these sort of storms like Katrina would become more frequent. The reality of human contributions to hurricane activity is far more nuanced and uncertain than Gore discusses in the documentary. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration has a section on its website dedicated to the topic. Quoting that authority, in summary, it is premature to conclude with high confidence that human-caused increases in greenhouse gases have caused a change in past Atlantic basin hurricane activity that is outside the range of natural variability, although greenhouse gases are strongly linked to global warming. Meteorologist Chris Martz said that climate science is full of the kind of uncertainty and nuance you see on the NOAA website, which an Inconvenient Truth dismisses entirely. And it's often meteorologists who are like, we understand the limits of our own predictive powers, and technology's gotten better. It is remarkable how well you can now track storms and track all sorts of stuff, but it's still it's not like a 2 + 2 = 4 sort of thing. There's a little bit of an art to that as well. And how that is always left out the window to scare the crap out of people. So you do a political agenda to essentially, what was it? We called it the watermelon. It was greens, but they're reds inside. commie takeover. It's all that. And it's not even a commie takeover. To your point, it's like feeding frenzy for the grifters.
Always, man. 99 out of 100 questions can be solved over money, man.
But since Gore's film was released, which was given a sequel in 2017, Gore has continued to make false predictions. The meteorologist Chris Martz said, in 2009, Gore stated that the Arctic would be ice-free in summer within 5 to 7 years. As of today, the Arctic still has ice in summer. We look at the Arctic ice now, and yes, it's declined since '79 when satellite records began. But over the last 18 to 20 years, there's really been no trend. And this caught scientists off guard. The models never predicted this, Martz says. He also said that there's been multiple studies on Arctic ice, and while some predict an ice-free Arctic, others find the ice extent in the region recedes or grows as a result of natural variability. Predictions of cataclysms stemming from climate change regularly get reported in the media, but there's little reporting when the predictions fail. Really?
We'll do our best to cover it.
Really? In 2002, NBC News was one of the many outlets reporting that California and the American West were in the midst of a mega drought. Remember mega drought?
Which one?
Which was the worst the region had seen in over 1,000 years.
Oh, that one.
Earlier this month, NBC reported that California is drought-free for the first time in 25 years. The article made no mention of the previously predicted mega drought, nor does it mention climate change. Martz said that many of his critics respond to these failed predictions by arguing they weren't made by scientists in peer-reviewed articles published in journals. Instead, they're made by politicians or scientists in interviews. But most people don't get their information from scientific journals. They get it from the media, Martz said. Correct. That communication is what's more important in terms of public perception of what science is. Well, and honestly, like you look into this, it's like the COVID thing.
Mm-hmm.
The sexiest, like most doomsday, that's what gets the funding, especially if that sexy doomsday scientific hypothesis you're trying to prove and you need the research funding for it, gives the government a pretext to take more power and control over your life and hand off money to all their buddies and friends. That's the stuff that gets the funding. If you are, I think it was Nordhaus, who won a Nobel Prize, an economist that's also working with climatologists, saying that what we're probably looking at is like lukewarmism. It might be getting a little warmer because of human activity, but there's a bunch of feedback effects, and probably our best bet is the human race isn't a full overhaul of our economic production and structure, but just what we've always done, adaptation, iterative adaptation, reacting to the small changes that are happening. But that doesn't get the headlines. That doesn't get the funding. Like if the science comes back and says, well, it's really, really nuanced and stuff, nobody wants to hear that. They want to hear doom and gloom. They want that sizzle.
They got to have it for the dollars. You nailed it.
Though it had no scientific basis, there was a widespread belief that global warming could cause the human race to go extinct. I mean, you just heard it from the Bulletin of Atomic Scientists just a few minutes ago. A 2017 survey, found that 40% of Americans believed there was a 50% chance of that happening. In fact, the number of people killed by natural disasters has never been lower, a fact largely ignored by the media. People appear more likely to be influenced by Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez than the scientific data on deaths from climate-related natural disasters.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Her statement that the world would end in 12 years was actually a misreading of a special report by the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, which predicted that the world would need to cut its carbon dioxide emissions by 40-50% by 2030 and eliminate them entirely by 2050 to keep temperatures from rising more than 1.5 degrees Celsius above levels they were at before humans began burning a lot of fossil fuels. There's nothing in the report that predicts disaster after crossing that threshold. And some experts are estimating that we have already done so. The report estimates that under the worst-case scenario, the global GDP loss is about 2.6%, but it would still be about 10 times larger than it is today. But people didn't read the report. They just listened to AOC. And again, when you think about like how big of a system this is, it's difficult enough to predict what's the weather going to be on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you get it right. Sometimes you get it wrong, and we're getting better with the tools, but that's just predicting what's going to happen on a particular, say, path on Monday. What you're now going to have to do is, okay, if this amount of greenhouse gas goes in there from human burning of fossil fuels, what is the change in temperature going to be over a 50-year period, a 100-year period? Then on top of that, you remember every time they do a bill, like Congress is a bill and presidents push a bill, here's our economic analysis. Here's how this will affect the economy if we do this particular policy, XYZ. And it's often wrong, right? So after you do the climate science of here's how much we think based on greenhouse gas release that we'll see a temperature, then on that 50, 100-year period, we need to do an economic analysis of it. And it's like the further you push out, 10 years is already crazy enough. You're trying to project 50 years into the future, 100 years into the future, and, well, it's a probability study. It's like, that's not real. None of this is real. You can't model God's earth through a freaking math problem, dude.
I like that we were trying to do this before AI. You know, like we're talking about we need AI to help us do this, but yet these folks, fine scientists, were doing this 30 years ago.
Yes, and you can build sophisticated, brilliant models, and if you have a practical goal, maybe your mathematical model, in fact, works very well for a particular practical goal, like shooting rockets into space. But when you're trying to project and use math to predict the future and how it will affect a global economy, you people are crazy. And you're going to be the end of the world if we keep listening to your asses.
Unfortunately, most people, or a lot of people do, man.
Yeah. Yeah. They do.
Got to cut through the noise.
And for the most part, you got to love them all the same, right?
We're commanded, right?
Indeed we are. Indeed we are. 272-9228. So anyway, we're closer to like dying or something because of a bunch of nerds who said so. This part of the program. Brought to you by Dylan Rings. Don't worry about it being the end of the world. And in fact, maybe the world will end on February 15th. So don't forget Valentine's Day, gentlemen, because the last thing you'll see is your lady in your life really pissed at you.
Why didn't you just
You'll hear always it for forget the rest of eternity.
But Josh Ryder there at Dylan Rings has got a reminder out there. He says, hey, fellas, Valentine's Day is approaching. It is indeed. Peeking its head around the corner, wondering if you're going to be ordinary or extraordinary this year. Are you going to give the love of your life flowers? You should just do that randomly anyhow. Or are you going to give her a bright red pair of, I guess, 2.5 carat, is that? I don't know. CTW. I'm sorry, Josh. I'm looking at a pair of earrings. Oh, my goodness. They're beautiful red gems. And this is going to be something she could show off and she'll remember forever. There's only one pair at this particular price in stock. It's a deal for $1,740. These beautiful heart red ruby stud earrings. Dude.
As unique as the love in your life, Joey?
Only one pair. Mm-hmm. Rubies are...
Right now. Go get them. I'll beat you to them.
Well, you got to do the show, so maybe somebody else will beat us there to 119 Brown Springs Road here in Montgomery, just off Atlanta Highway. That's the location for Dylan Rings. And, of course, if you don't get the red ruby stud earrings, they have all sorts of other spectacular items from high-end to everyday jewelry items that I'm sure could make the love in your life, the lady in your life, very, very happy for Valentine's Day. And, it depends. You got to do a whole package, but they can help you put that package together at Dylan Rings. Y'all stop by. Again, that's 119 Brown Springs Road here in Montgomery. Be sure to tell them that Joey and Byron, those fellas on the radio, sent you.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
Independent Glass has been your one-stop shop for all things glass since 1978. They offer a full range of architectural products, and they're armed with the knowledge and expertise to get even the most demanding job done, big or small. Attention to detail, 24-hour replacement services, and their uncompromising commitment to excellence is why Montgomery's first choice for all things glass is Independent Glass. Call them today at 263-2823 and learn more about what they can do for you at independentglassco.com.
For more than 50 years, the Tears family's been keeping the river region flowing with Roto-Rooter. From drain cleaning to septic repair and installation, no job's too big or too messy with a local team you can trust. So when water won't go where it's supposed to, call the hometown experts who've been serving Montgomery for over half a century. That's 272-7130. Or visit roto-rooteralabama.com. And remember,
call Roto-Rooter, that's the name. And away go troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter.
Hi there, I'm Kim Williams with Alabama Home Mortgage. For years, I've been asking you to call me at Alabama Home Mortgage because there is a difference in mortgage companies. When you call Alabama Home Mortgage, from the moment we pick up the phone, you will hear the difference. We are passionate about what we do. To us, you're not just another applicant. When you call on us, you are trusting that we have your best interest at heart, and we do. We treat our customers like family, and that's why our customers turn into family, coming back to us time and time again. We know you have many options when it comes to mortgage financing, and we appreciate the opportunity to earn your business. We are excited to hear from you. Give Alabama Home Mortgage a call at 567-4223. That's 567-4223. Or visit us online at myalabamahomemortgage.com to complete an application on your time. Our passion is just one difference that sets us apart from the rest. It's not just a slogan. Call Alabama Home Mortgage because, folks, there is a difference in mortgage companies. NMLS 1586-368, Equal Housing Lender.
Love is in the air and on the boat. The Harriet II riverboat, that is. Bring your special someone for a romantic evening and experience the elegance of cruising the Alabama River. Enjoy a delicious dinner while taking in the stunning sights. Dance the night away to the tunes that touch your soul, or just sit back and relax. Roses and champagne complete your lover's evening. Book your Valentine's cruise for February 13th and 14th at funinmontgomery.com.
For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state, while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com.
The Rich Thomas Weather Network, brought to you by Montgomery Paint and Body. From little fender benders to total body repair, MPB will fix it good as new, maybe better. For 4 decades, the Turner family has been getting you back on the road. Call 279-7325.
Rich Thomas Weather.
Well, hi, everybody. It is another much below normal late January winter's day. Sunshine today with a high temperature in the lower 40s. Not quite as windy as it has been. Partly cloudy, another deep freeze tonight. Overnight low temperature in the lower 20s. Partial sunshine, 47 on Wednesday. Upper 40s on Thursday, and the night still in the low to mid 20s. Then look for a fresh supply of new Arctic air arriving by, let's say, Friday night into Saturday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Budget Floors and More has the best prices. Carpet as low as 69 cents per square foot. LVP starting at $1.29 a square foot. Sheet vinyl as low as 65 cents per square foot. And the lowest prices on flooring installation supplies. Budget Floors and More across from Delray to Publix.
When news happens, you'll hear about it first. The River Region's most trusted voice. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. I'm your host, Joey Clark, and that's Byron Sheehy there on the right side of your screen. And got some breaking news, more detail about this guy who was shot and killed by ICE in Minnesota, Alex Pretty, or whatever his name is. And, as I said before, awful to watch, and I hate to see anybody killed in that way, but it's also like, what are you doing fighting with these guys?
Stupid games, win stupid prizes, something like that.
I think the administration maybe overstated their hand when they talked about a domestic terrorist or whatever. Well, I can also see where they're coming from with these insurgency operations, what it is, how organized this is. And, I mean, it's part of the game. It's sad to even put it in those terms that it's a game, but that's what it is, of agitate, agitate, agitate. And, in fact, a lot of the folks you would never see on the street, this is exactly what they're hoping for. Well, apparently, Alex Preddy was known to the feds and suffered a broken rib in a violent confrontation with agents a week before. Border Patrol officers killed him in Minneapolis. Preddy, an ICU nurse, told a pal he saw the ICE agents chasing what he described as a family on foot and stopped his car during the earlier incident around a week before he was shot. He said he pulled over in his car and began shouting and blowing on a whistle, at which point he was tackled by 5 agents, the source said. Preddy claimed that one of the agents had left him with a broken rib after leaning on his back. That day, he thought he was going to die, the source said.
People have lost their minds, Joey.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't understand what these people are thinking supposed to happen in a situation like this. Like, you go around this type of operation with any sort of ill intent. If you don't understand that bad things are going to happen, you're an idiot. And the things that happen to you, you're inviting and asking for.
Oh, in many cases, yes.
I don't understand.
And that's, again, it's the point of this sort of agitation.
But what baffles me is, all right, so I don't believe that all this is organic.
No, it's not.
Okay, so where is the financial source? Who's funding this? Where is it going? Like, there should be criminal investigations into the money flowing into this, and the people who are organizing this should be treated as terrorists. And anything that happens in the process of them interfering with law enforcement, that's on them.
Yeah. No, I think they're going to be officers who see what happened and they're like, there's like 4 or 5 of y'all. This is how it had to end. And I still subscribe to the theory. Again, this is why we have investigations in a judicial process. That actually was the gun that Alex was carrying. When the officer removed it from him, I think it discharged without the trigger being pulled. Because, again, I always go back to that audio I heard. There's one pop, which is weird. Like, you don't, if law enforcement opens up, as they did, they open up. Like, so there's one pop. And it makes me think as that guy takes it out, starts walking away, it went off, a make and model that is known for going off.
I don't even need that. I mean, to me, it's unfortunate if that happened. And whatever happened in this specific case, this case is isolated. It will be treated as an isolated event. But the larger picture, I don't think that the outcome that these terrorists are hoping for is going to be what actually happens. They're going to lose this, and it's not going to be pretty. More people are going to get hurt because of these tactics, and it's going to escalate. And the military is going to have to come in, or the police, National Guard, whatever, wherever. And if they don't put a clamp down on this, it's going to spike and it's going to escalate, and it's going to escalate quickly.
Yeah. And yet I think most Americans in polling still agree with the immigration crackdown. I mean, they're going to be folks who get squishy as they see all the terrible pleas from Hollywood and many others. But, that's just the way of this world.
How many estimated illegals are still in this country?
Oh, millions, man. Millions.
Where do we think these illegals are probably going to be hiding out? In Democrat strongholds, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the obstruction, the organization around this, that's what I'm talking about. The fact that these people are being played as pawns, and some of them are actually just kind of collateral damage in this.
Yes.
That's the heartbreaking part. But the bad actors, the people that are being paid to do this, I have no sympathy for them. Zero.
272-922. I want to see what you got on there. You're on there. Who's this?
Hey, Soldier Boy.
Hey, Soldier Boy. What's up?
Your guest is so close on base, it's pathetic. Like, for example, the deputy of Homeland Security, she made a good point this morning when she was on Fox. She says, Notice that the signs, like you were saying, this is not organic. This is all planned and strategized and planned from outside powers and sources. And she says, where do people just buy gas masks out of Walmart or just go shopping down to the local mall and buy them? And they just happen to pop them out. These are specialized equipment that are being presented to them. Just kind of like the other case for the bricks. And she said, notice the signs have the same size font on there and the same style font and everything. She says this is all organized and not organic. This is not people coming home and making a sign, for like game day on ESPN on Saturday morning.
Well, it's a combination of that. You attract those folks with this sort of organization. You attract the folks that aren't necessarily deep in the organization. And I would say it's a combination of it's very well organized, it's well funded, though James O'Keefe just did an interview with Megyn Kelly after going there, and he said the amount of how they're tracking his plates, like do they have somebody at DMV or law enforcement that's inside helping them? I think that's yes. I think a lot of local authorities are helping. But James O'Keefe said these folks... James O'Keefe said a lot of these folks are true believers. So it's a combination of well-funded, well-organized, but there are a lot of folks who really mean what they're saying. And you've got to think about where this is. Minnesota is maybe one of the more classically just hardcore socialist places in this country, and has been for a long time. So,
but let me ask you a question though. I think this is what I'm thinking. Who's your guest, Brian?
Byron.
I'm sorry, I mispronounced it. What I'm thinking that, I hate to say it, maybe Russia, maybe China, maybe another place that's trying to topple over our regime, And is it any different from us trying to change Venezuela or other countries to change their regime?
No, I wouldn't be surprised to see foreign, at least money or
I wouldn't be surprised to see foreign mixed with domestic.
Yes,
I mean,
exactly.
There's bad actors over here just as much as there are over abroad.
Yeah, but I think, you got to have a reason before you do something. So you want to overtake or overthrow or change the whole system, the process and everything in the government. And in order to do who would want that the most? I don't look just at George Soros. I'm looking at other terrorist groups. What about the Somalis that sent all that billions of dollars? You think that didn't get used?
Oh, and I think some folks are saying because Trump tapped Homan and put Bavino back where he was, that Trump's retreating or something. I get a sense. No, and after that phone call with Waltz and Frey, it looks like all of a sudden the State Patrol showed up and was cracking down and enforcing laws and stuff.
Was that because of the governor talking with Trump on the phone?
I think so. Some deal was made, and I think also some threats were probably made as well.
I guarantee it is.
Yes.
He's probably going to tell him, we're going to turn the heat up on your investigation on your little...
Would you rather work with Tom Homan now or the 101st Airborne? Y'all need to clean up your frickin' state. And I'm not asking for everybody who's in your state illegally. I'm asking for the hardened criminals. Stop it with this, with the stand-down order through police, not cooperating and giving people you have locked up that need to be deported.
I like what somebody said in Fox last night. It was really interesting. It was one of the persons from in Minnesota, one of the citizens there, and they asked them, and it's like they're trying to defend and protect rapists, pedophiles, and criminals, and from being arrested. And here's the thing about it is, she says, how would you feel? She said, I'd like to ask one of those protests, how would you like to feel that your daughter got raped? How would you feel that your children were raped by a pedophile or overdosed by drugs or something? It'd all be changing the story.
Right, and for all the folks saying you have no empathy and you have no heart, it's like, where was your heart for Laken Riley? Where?
I'm still asking where the investigation was on the young lady killed on January 6th, point blank.
Well, and think about there's room for criticism. Remember when Katie Britt did the State of the Union response, and she went through a lot of the horrible things happening on that corridor, that inhumane corridor of trafficking, and she's mocked for it, and belittled, and nitpicked, and all this other stuff, and it's like, oh, and now the same folks are going to give us a lecture on this is some American Gestapo. But, by the way, we had a phone call with, the Fuhrer himself, and now we're going to cooperate. It's just, they're so full of crap, and a lot of it is just stupid white women of a certain age. Anyway, I got to run, Soldier Boy. I appreciate it. In fact, there's a lady named Kaylee Kramer who put out today, I just deleted my Facebook. I unfollowed several hundred people on Instagram and still going. White liberal women are destroying America, says this woman. And all you need to do is log on to Facebook or Instagram to see it firsthand. Yeah, I've been blocking heavily since 2025 began. And I'm not even that active politically on Facebook anymore because it's just not even worth the time, half of it. But here's a longer post from a gal named Megan Murphy. Unfortunately for women, the extent of retardation I'm seeing in the Instagram stories of women I know is making me think women are retarded. Women, please stop. I do not wish to believe you are retarded, but you fell for COVID hysteria, you fell for BLM hysteria, you sure fell for Trump hysteria and continue to. You trans women are women in your social media feeds for years. You are now on ICE our fascist hysteria track. Next month, it's going to be something else. Can you please not fall for every single hysteric news cycle trend fed to your algorithm? Has it occurred to you that you could stop and think for a moment before posting something completely hyperbolic based on the incredibly biased non-information your friends share in their Instagram stories, as it just might not be the full story? Has it occurred to you that, gasp, you might be wrong again? I know, not all women. But the extent to which I have observed women in particular, writes Megan Murphy, engaging in this behavior over the past 10 years is a lot. You don't have to jump on every bandwagon. You don't have to post every hashtag. You don't need to demand people who are not exactly like you unfollow you. That is childish and dumb, and people who are not exactly like you, you'll notice, don't do that to you. They don't tell you you are bad just because you have bad opinions, which you do. You just don't know it because you don't bother to consider that alternative views might be legitimate, even though those views aren't in your friends' Instagram stories. Imagine not just posting something stupid and hyperbolic on your social media feed every single time your friends do it. Imagine not posting a black square because everyone else is. Stop being retarded. Use your brain. Maybe give it a minute or two. Maybe look beyond your algorithm. Maybe learn from history. Recall that the mob isn't always right, and your emotions stirred up by flashing lights are also not always right. It's embarrassing the rest of us. Again, it was written by a woman. And I've noticed it too.
And posted on social media.
Yeah, I know.
Let's just go outside and touch some grass and all decompress a little bit.
I like the irony.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of women on women like fighting going on right now.
I enjoy
it.
A lot of content has to be created, though, Joey. You know, you got so many eyeballs you're viewing for spots in the algorithm. You got to flood the zone with the content to stay at the top, man.
Well, and the way I get off my algorithm, because I jump on my algorithm and I find stuff like this. You know, I get off it, I go read the Bible, and I'm learning, especially as I read a lot of Paul's epistles. There's no wonder these feminist bitches hate this stuff.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings, 6 till 9, and afternoons, 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
Welcome to Eclectic Coins, Montgomery's largest coin dealer, specializing in buying and selling investment-grade gold and silver coins. And they have a large selection of rare coins and coins from around the world. Visit them at 543 Northeastern Boulevard or on the web at eclecticcoins.com. Eclectic Coins, where collectors who know go.
Want that ride that is fun, affordable, and street legal? Check out ETG Outdoors in Montgomery. They have huge discounts on electric golf carts with many brand new units under 10 grand. New and used inventory, financing available, and they service what they sell. ETG Outdoors even provides lithium battery conversions and free delivery with purchase. Whether it's for the neighborhood, the farm, or just fun, ETG Outdoors, 7006 Vaughn Road, or online at etgoutdoors.com. Cruise smarter, drive electric. ETG Outdoors, your ride to freedom starts here.
The premier place the River Region turns to for news, weather, traffic, and opinion. News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
Fittingly, folks, this part of the program brought to you by Montgomery Men's Health. And they're at Montgomery Men's Health. They're ready to help you fellas out if you're struggling with low T or ED. If you're noticing issues with ED or low T, then your relationships, your confidence, even your career has probably already been affected. And there are a lot of online folks vying for your time and attention with generic treatments, but some of them are even unsafe, and they're not tailored to you and your body. Instead, the urologists and providers there at Montgomery Men's Health can focus solely on your ED issue or low T and do it the right way. No unproven snake oil or peptides without solid research. They've been doing this here in the area since 2022, helping men reclaim their confidence with safe, effective treatment. So call them up today, gentlemen. Make an appointment right now at 440-3663. That's 334-440-3663. Or you can book online in under 30 seconds at MontgomeryMen'sHealth.com. Montgomery Men's Health for every man in every season of life. So I think City Councilman Andrew Szymanski's going to be here. And we talk about all sorts of stuff. You got questions for the counselor?
I'll be, I shouldn't say amazed, but we had a lot of trees down in Cloverdale.
Yeah, dude.
If he's able to break free from the responsibilities over there, testament to him.
No, and I haven't gotten a text or anything to reschedule, so this isn't even our normal time.
Even maybe a couple minutes late, because...
Well, I was thinking this morning, I'm like, the city actually pretty quickly opened up most rights away. Why do we need another 1% occupation tax? Seems we're doing a lot of the basic stuff just fine.
Yeah,
we're budgeted for enough police. We don't have the police, but we're budgeted for enough.
I thought we were well budgeted.
Yeah.
I thought we were touting the success of the coffers here recently.
No, but we always need more, right?
Don't they?
Man, they always want more. Because what's better than why not more? Why not both?
I like more. I'd like to keep more of my money.
Yeah, likewise. Anyway, we'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. Still dealing with cold Arctic air in parts of the South, let alone several other states impacted by that big winter storm over the weekend, and hundreds of thousands of people remain without electricity. Tragically, at least 35 deaths are now blamed on the storm, and that includes 3 young brothers who perished in Texas after they fell through the surface of a frozen pond. A day-long hearing today that should make it clear exactly what caused that mid-aircraft collision that killed 67 people a year ago near Washington, D.C.'s Reagan National Airport. That's when an American Airlines jet flying in from Kansas and an Army Black Hawk helicopter collided and plummeted into the Potomac River. Congress trying to avoid a partial government shutdown. Part of the money they need to approve, though, is for the Department of Homeland Security, and some Democrats are refusing, they say, unless changes are made at ICE. This is SRN News.
Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. Now that we're finally into the new year, a lot of us are thinking about taxes, home projects we've been putting off, ways to get ahead financially in 2026. Now's the perfect time to talk to my friends at Fellowship Home Loans. If you want to lower your mortgage payment, they can help you refinance. If you need access to cash for home improvements or to wipe out high-interest debt, their fixed-rate line of credit is one of the best tools out there. Fast approval, predictable rate, and flexibility to use your home's equity wisely. Remember, many people still qualify to skip their next 2 mortgage payments. Imagine starting big projects or paying down debt with 2 months of breathing room. My family and I have used Fellowship personally. I trust these guys. Take control of 2026. Go to fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G. fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G. fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G. or call 800-510-MIKE. That's 800-510-6453. Fellowship Home Loans. Mortgage lending by the book.
Nationwide Mortgage Bankers. DBA Fellowship Home Loans. Equal housing lender. NMLS number 8193.
Rich Thomas Weather is brought to you by Clark Heating, Air, and Plumbing. It's time to schedule your spring tune-up with Clark Heating, Air, and Plumbing. Don't wait. Schedule today. Give them a call at 334-277-2125. Alabama certification number 88007.
Rich Thomas Weather.
Well, hi, everybody. It is another much below normal late January winter's day. Sunshine today with a high temperature in the lower 40s. Not quite as windy as it has been. Partly cloudy, another deep freeze tonight. Overnight low temperature in the lower 20s. Partial sunshine, 47 on Wednesday. Upper 40s on Thursday, and the night still in the low to mid 20s. Then look for a fresh supply of new Arctic air arriving by, let's say, Friday night into Saturday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
The holidays may be over, but the bills don't have to weigh you down. Let ASE Credit Union help lighten your financial load with our special post-holiday loan options. Visit us online at yourasecu.com or stop by one of our branches to learn more. Terms and conditions apply. Federally insured by NCUA.
From the Blue Water Broadcasting News Center, these are today's top stories. The National Weather Service has confirmed a tornado touched down Sunday in parts of Lowndes and Montgomery counties. Tornado damage was found in eastern Lowndes County and western Montgomery County. It's estimated the tornado was at least an EF1 with winds of over 90 miles per hour. The tornado's path was 3 miles long and 65 yards wide. Montgomery Regional Airport received a bomb threat Monday morning. The threat was made at approximately 8 a.m., prompting law enforcement and emergency services to be notified. Sections of the terminal were cordoned off, then searched until the area was deemed clear. The airport then resumed normal operations. The temporary restraining order against the NCAA to allow Charles Bediako to play basketball at the University of Alabama has been extended. A meeting scheduled for today to address the order was postponed due to inclement weather. Another hearing will be set at a later date to be named. Bediako declared for the NBA draft in 2023, but never appeared in an NBA game. From the Blue Water Broadcasting News Center, I'm Sky Mosley.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368. An equal housing lender.
The employees of Adams Drugs would like to thank you for trusting us with your health care in 2025. We look forward to serving you and your family in 2026. You will continue to enjoy the same services such as immunizations, compounding, medication therapy management, delivery service, and wellness clinics, to name a few. Looking for that perfect gift for a loved one? Visit our Emily B. gift shop and find everything from Tyler candles to scout bags. Gift wrapping is available. If you have not visited Adams Drugs and experienced the award-winning customer service, we ask you to consider us for your prescription care in 2026. We have 12 convenient locations to serve you in the River Region. 8 in Montgomery, 1 in Wetumpka, Prattville, Millbrook, and Pine Level, Marbury. Please find us at adamsdrugs.net for the location that is nearest to you. Adams Drugs is your local, independently owned Health Mart pharmacy. Health Mart, taking the time to listen and care.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick, and it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks Vapo Stick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks Vapors when you need more comfort for yourself. Use as directed.
This is Frank Bertarelli with Zap Pest Control. We're here today to thank Blue Water Broadcasting. We're now over 31 years in business. If you don't believe in radio advertisement, give these guys a chance. You won't be disappointed. Zap Pest Control is still on the move today, thanks to the friendships we've made with Blue Water Broadcasting.
Our advertisers are our biggest advocates. Call us to find out how radio can increase your bottom line. Blue Water Broadcasting. Local folks, helping local business.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's news and views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back, folks. And we got a full house here in the studio. Off our usual time, but happy to accommodate. We have Byron Sheehy's still here, but Andrew Szymanski, City Councilman Andrew Szymanski, here in the studio with us. Andrew, how you doing today, sir?
I am doing well. Thanks for having me. Thanks for being flexible with me. Beginning of the year has been a little bit chaotic with the day job, so I appreciate the change of schedule. But hopefully, in February we can get back on track.
Cool. Well, we were talking a little off air, but the storm that rolled through, I was on the interstate like an idiot. I went my normal workout routine, and thinking back, I'm like, that kind of sounded like a train, because folks kept saying, talking to Rich Thomas, we got these microburst and small tornadoes. And so it kind of made sense of what I was seeing on the interstate, which wasn't much. I was seeing some people with their flashers and whatnot. I get home, there's a tree through my roof.
Yeah.
And my bathroom and in my closet. And I know you live in the Cloverdale area. Like, what's it like over your way?
Yeah, well, I'm glad to hear that, I saw the damage at your place, and I'm glad everybody's okay there. It came in out of nowhere, and the damage in that area, especially Garden District, Cloverdale, South Hall, kind of the corner of the Gretz neighborhood, and then my area in Idlewild, got hit pretty hard. And we had some neighbors and residents that had some pretty extensive damage, not just property damage, but we had a lot of old trees, and LeGrand Park was hit pretty hard. And from what it looks like and what I've been told, we've avoided any major death or injury or anything like that. But there's still a lot of property damage, and man, there were a lot of trees in the streets, a lot of road obstructions. I think we had about 2,300 homes without power. Well into the night. Of course, it was a cold night that night. So really appreciate all the rallying that we had. The Public Works Department and sanitation crews, Alabama Power's linesmen were out there in the cold. I know some people were getting their power back on 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night. So really just it seemed like a free thing. Amanda was actually at the grocery store, and I called her and I said, hey, something's starting to spin up over here. Just be careful leaving. And then she called me back 2 minutes later. She's like, yeah, I just got to the checkout line, and I'm going to hang out here for a little while. And I was like, yeah, stay put for a bit, because all craziness is happening here. And then, right after it kind of passed, a good friend of mine called and was in a bit of a panic. She had 3 trees come down in her yard. And I was like, I got out and I was like, all right, I'm going to come over. Let me help out. And when I got over there, just getting over there, which was normally takes me about 3 minutes, took me about 12, just trying to find a clear enough path, and had already started seeing police units out with their lights on, just kind of helping out with the situation. So it was crazy.
Well, and by Monday, I saw the city put out the official bulletin that all rights of way had been cleared. I was impressed. And I've seen it firsthand, not just with this recent experience. When I lived in Forest Hills, a tree fell right on my neighbor's house, and one, just the whole root ball and all fell across the road, pulled down power lines. And you're right, when you see those crews get to action in the rain often and in the elements, hat tip to those fellas earning their keep.
Yeah, and it is relevant to remind people that when we get these kind of advisories that are going out there, especially in those moments when they predict it's going to be the worst, it is always smart for people to try and just be mindful of that, not be on the roads. We know WAK, WSFA, all the news outlets, try and communicate as best they can, but sometimes you just don't know where a specific area is just going to have all that kind of chaos break loose. And so I was just really glad that it seemed like, most of the damage was generally cosmetic, but there's going to be a lot of infrastructure. I mean, there were some trees that were uprooted. I know I saw at the corner of South Hall and Fairview where the asphalt's torn up, curbs are torn up, some of the gutters are torn up. So there's going to be a ripple effect to this. And just really appreciative that we're kind of already on top of it. I've seen crews out there ever since the incident happened.
Yeah, and I'm just happy we got the resources, we got the folks, and we're on top of it to be able to help anybody out who needs that help. And then good luck, everybody, with the insurance companies. That's always fun.
Man. Yeah.
Always fun. Now, another storm coming through town is the state legislature. They're here in session now. And there's so many things that I might talk about with state legislature, but y'all at the city council level passed is it just a proclamation, or is like, hey guys, go lobby for this, that, or the other thing? In particular, occupational tax and an ID, like gun ID laws. So I'm on the same page as the audience is. What exactly did y'all pass, and what's the hope for?
Yeah, so we have a lobbying team that represents the city, and we kind of take some of the top level items that we're getting from whether it be city departments like the MPD, public safety outfits with the gun ID law, but also just things that we think can help make the city a little bit more competitive from a revenue standpoint. Now, when we pass these things, it's basically go on and see what we can make happen at the legislature. And, when the legislature comes to town, it's a really interesting time for Montgomery. It's an exciting time this year, especially because it is an election year. So it's kind of going to be a very fast-paced session with a lot of action happening early. But I know that, in an election year, you have kind of a more muted side on some of the bigger issues. And interestingly enough, my day job with the Alabama Scenic River Trail, we're funded through the state and through the legislature, so I'm kind of attuned to how a lot of the budgeting process works. But from these are things that we see as helpful tools. Either the gun ID law, we've talked a lot about some of the images we've seen of people walking down the boulevard with guns, and what we can do to give police the opportunity to at least make sure that people that shouldn't have guns don't have guns on them. And then with the occupational tax, one that me and my colleagues go back and forth on a lot. Of course, when you have the opportunity to have more revenue to do the things that you want to do as a city, that can be a very good tool, and people will question whether or not we're capable of doing good things with that money. But I will remind people that we just got over a debate about Jackson Hospital, where my phone would not stop ringing off the hook about how important it was for us to save Jackson Hospital. And we did in a unique position that we were in, put up $22.5 million. And I think one thing, when you have 62,000 people that come to Montgomery to work every day that don't live here, one thing just to remember is that when we asked the surrounding municipalities and counties who had 42% of the patient load coming from Autauga, Elmore, Pike Road, and Prattville, and Millbrook, all the way down into Lowndes County, when we asked them to help in whatever way was possible with this huge financial lift to keep Jackson Hospital solvent and on the path moving forward, they all said no, right? And we don't get that kind of support when it comes to, we have some critical infrastructure needs and a desperate need to expand our airport. Our airport is not for Montgomery city and county residents only. And conversations have been had about other ways the area can help invest in the airport, and that's fallen on deaf ears too. So, from our position, of course, whenever you have this opportunity to get in, additional streams of revenue into the city, these are some of the things that we want to turn that into. People were a little bit critical of the gas tax, and now we're paving roads at a much faster rate than we were a year ago, just because the cost of paving roads has gone up. So, I question, like a lot of people do, where that need comes from. We're seeing some examples where having that revenue in our back pocket or in our bank account could have really made it an easier decision for us to go forward with Jackson Hospital rather than the months-long debate we had.
So it would be a 1% tax essentially for anybody that works in the city?
Yeah, that was the framework. We're looking at other municipalities. I mean, 25 other municipalities. So, whether it's Auburn or Birmingham, there are anywhere I've seen between 0.5 or half a percentage to 1%. I think the highest I've seen in the States like 1.25%. And again, it just is an opportunity, to have an additional revenue stream for the capital city. We don't get any, additional revenue from the state offices being here. We have a lot of, untaxed properties in the municipality itself. But I understand, obviously taking, a percentage of money from people's paychecks is a pretty big ask for us. It's just that when you have, the road infrastructure needs that we have, we're trying to make sure we have all the resources we need for public safety. And then you have situations where one of our major healthcare institutions, in the central Alabama area, is in need in a unique way, and we're looking at our bottom lines. That's just something that we have to consider. So
the state passed a law a few years back, essentially blocking y'all's ability to implement this on the local level.
Blocking Montgomery's ability, yes. But as I said, places like Auburn and Birmingham, I think Tuskegee. I could pull up the list.
Sure, you're right. There are a lot of municipalities in Alabama that have an occupational tax. But I'd imagine part of the sticking point or the argument from the folks at the state are going to be like, you want to tax state employees, and we don't like that.
Yeah, well, I imagine that would be a big part of that for sure. I think also it'd be that we'd be taxing, the outfits that are in the city that, having offices and stuff here that interact around the legislature or interact around state agencies as well. Again, I understand that trickle down, and I that's why I say I struggle with it. But it was tough. It was an interesting position to be in. Just as I said, when we need things and we need to invest in things to be competitive as a city going forward, and to see how much other cities are able to leverage their occupational tax, it is a tempting thing and something the council felt was at least something worth lobbying for. I mean, obviously, it's been met with a lot of resistance at the state level. I know some of our local legislators. I respect a lot of our local legislators. I respect their opposition to this. I've had conversations with some of our state senators and representatives who said that this is a non-starter for them. So for us to advocate for something and then for whether or not it comes to fruition, this is just part of that process.
And then just to be clear, the gun ID idea is something often police are looking for and asking for.
Yeah, and that was really just the request that had come through as a kind of a follow-up to the conversations we had about it last year. Was really kind of moving this up to the state legislative level. And, we as a council wanted to support that request and pass that along. And again, because we have a lobbying group that helps us do work at the state level, we wanted to really have a show of what we're in favor of them going for at this year's session.
Again, folks, we're talking to City Councilman Andrew Szymanski. If you have any comments or questions, 272-9228. That's 334-272-9228, especially for you Verizon customers out there. So annoying. I had to go through my entire grandfather's phone. I had 334 to all sorts of numbers. Byron, you got any questions?
Wait, is that in effect now?
Yeah. If you just called 272-9228 and you're on Verizon, it won't go through.
Oh, because now
you gotta have the 334.
What's the other? It's 334 now. What's the new area code?
Oh, I don't even know that one off the top of my
Because they're doing it because we got another area code in
I think
in Montgomery. So
is that 334, 205, 251 South? I don't know.
No, I think they added one. I
just know I've been having to add 334 to a bunch of numbers in order to make them actually go through.
What is it?
483. Councilman,
Yeah,
I do have a quick question.
Please.
On the budget month to month, when you're looking at sales tax numbers, do you see a bump when they're actually in the session, the legislature? Can you see the impact that body has on the local sales tax numbers, or is it just kind of a wash compared to all the other months?
We definitely could take a look at that, and so we'll have the January numbers at the February meeting, and we could,
they were in session last year.
No, I'm saying it's like we could take a look at it. I think what you would actually see is not necessarily sales tax. I'd be really interested to see how lodging tax was affected by that. One of the challenges we have had since the shooting incident in downtown was we saw a very high reduction in lodging tax and alcohol tax and a bit of a drop in the sales tax. And so, I think you could look at those trends and attribute that to legislative being in session. But I would say that the biggest increases we've seen in sales and in lodging tax tend to come over the past couple of years. April, May, and June, we get a lot of tourism activity happening at that time period, especially now with EJI. We see similar numbers coming into the fall, September and October. I think if there's not a story told during the legislative session, it might be because some of those other industries are lower, so it kind of nets itself out a little bit. But I'm sure there is an impact because, I know a lot of people are in town 2, 3, 4 days a week, every week that the legislature is running. They're in our businesses, they're in our restaurants, they might be in some of our bars, who knows. But there is definitely a positive impact by having the legislature in session here in Montgomery.
Let's go to line 1. You're on there. Who's this?
Simpler days.
Always. It's always good to hear from you.
Just want to congratulate you on your job y'all do on cleaning up the streets and getting the city back in order. I know one of the previous mayors, Emery Farmer, would be very proud that y'all handled that in such a timely manner. But on the other side, two things. Number one, what are we doing with the money that we have now? I've heard from a very reliable source that we're allocated for about 22 to 25 911 personnel. Not talking about anybody's support, but 911 call takers, dispatchers, the whole 9 yards. And we have four down there right now. That's not on one shift. That's 4 folks. We need to do something about that. I mean, that is a major public safety issue for a city of about 200,000 people to only have 4 people working down there. So whoever is in charge, whoever needs a raise, whatever we got to do to get that fixed, that needs to be fixed priority. Are you aware of that?
Well, I know that I've heard a lot of people, and more recently, have been talking about that. But I did see recently that we had brought on, when I looked at some of the new hiring roles, that we had more. I think they even did some social media posting around it, some more people. So I don't have a total number for you. I do know that it is a focus of our emergency response to have that fully staffed. And I've talked to Joey, and I've talked about this before, whether it be the police department, other public safety outfits. I mean, the money has been budgeted and allocated. Right. We've not been cutting back on those allocations. 911 operators are few and far to come by. The process of becoming one is extremely rigorous. And so I know that has been a big focus of ours. And from what I understand, I know that there are some new people have come into the position. I don't have a total number for you at the moment.
Yeah, they brought in 4 or 5 contract 911 operators from other cities because they can't keep them down there, and then they threw up their hands and left because they said the working environment, the conditions are so bad. So you nearly need to get on top of that. Other thing is, just the other day, I was at a shopping center and happened to look across the way, and I saw a police vehicle, 4242, and being an old law enforcement officer that I am, it caught my eye, and I said, and this is a 2011 Crown Victoria with, you can't even read the emblem on the back. And I said, surely that vehicle's not in service. They must have sold it, and it's got a blue municipal tag on it, 4242. The emblem is faded out. You can't even read the police, and it's got a big rusted hole placed in the trunk. I don't know who's in charge of the keeping up with the police vehicles, keeping up with equipment, but that is embarrassing to the city of Montgomery. If I was a police officer and had to get in that piece of crap every day, I wouldn't have a very good feel about coming to work. Y'all need to do something about that. I mean, when you got people on the mayor's staff riding around in high country vehicles, $90,000, $100,000 vehicles, and you let the rank and file ride around in crap like that, that is a sad, sad situation.
Yeah, well, I'm not here to dispute that. If there was somebody riding in an older vehicle, we have done everything on the budgetary side to make sure we provide our public safety outfits with all the resources, equipment, vehicles that they need. I had not seen a Crown Vic in circulation in quite some time, so I don't know what the particular circumstances of that are, but we'll make an inquiry into it, see if there's something actually to that. But we have said from the very beginning of this current council is that, we were not going to let, money and resources be a barrier to our police officers getting their jobs done, and we've made some pretty aggressive investments into that. This past summer we had the new motorcycles back on the streets. We have more vehicles, more technology deployed in our major kind of commercial areas, including downtown. So Can't really speak to that particular incident, but it sounds like, if there is some kind of issue, we still are having some outdated or, poor equipment getting out onto the streets, then you're right, something we should be looking into.
Well, the vehicle number is 4242, and the municipal tag number is 523558MU. What does that say to people that come into our city? And it's representative of the police department. And if you're trying to recruit an officer and he says, you know what, I can go to work for the sheriff's department, or I can go to work for Prattville, or I can go to work for Wetumpka, or anywhere else, I don't have to drive a piece of crap to work every day. I can only imagine what the inside of that vehicle looks like. But please check on that for the officer's sake.
Sure. We can definitely do that. That's a easy inquiry that can be made. And as I said, I don't really know the specific circumstances that would, kind of lead to that, holes in the car and whatnot. But, we'll take a look at it. I'll make a phone call and see what we can find out.
Appreciate it, Simpler Days.
Thank you.
272-9228. Do we have any, any idea of current force levels, any updates in that regard in terms of recruiting?
I have been told more recently, especially with some of the recruiting, we had a big surge, and we had a lot of positive things to report early in the summertime. I'm not sure what the class cycle is because I've not seen a recent. Maybe when we're offline, I can double check and look. But, I think we're still kind of in that roughly 200-ish number that we've been kind of bouncing around at. I know we've been backfilling some positions. And I do know, and I was actually in a conversation yesterday with some business owners in the city about the new deployment of state assets in downtown, especially with the session in place, but also leading into the holiday season. Just the visibility, officers, state troopers walking around the downtown area, rubbing shoulders and talking with folks. So, there's an awareness at all levels, and it seems like right now we're seeing that really play out, especially with the legislator in town, but also with the holidays, that when we have that kind of collaboration, the force multiplication is felt. I know as well that, the traffic operations on I-85 have been increased. I've been seeing a lot more traffic stops and some of that. So hopefully that is, a way for us to offset, whatever deficits we may be having.
And just to underline something for me, it's like if somebody goes through, say, police academy here, they don't have to necessarily work here, right? They can go work wherever.
Correct. That's my understanding.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know. I know the money's been, as you said earlier, y'all budgeted the money. They've done a lot of things aggressively that I agree with, and it'd be nice to get those levels up. And I'm glad the state is helping to supplement. We had to hit a break here in a second, but you can already start to see, and I'm not trying to get you in political trouble or get you in the middle of anything, but you can already start to see the friction between potential Governor Tuberville, say Mayor Woodfin, and Mayor Reed. It's going to be fascinating. My hope is that despite even public statements or posturing, that everybody gets in the same damn room and actually is on the same page on some important things.
Yeah, well, public safety doesn't have to be a partisan issue. It's just, it's how we approach and prioritize and really go after, all levels of what it means to have a safe community, whether that is people feeling safe in their homes and neighborhoods, whether there's, really targeted ways for us to go after major crimes, big criminals, at all levels of this. It has to be a collaborative effort. We all want the same thing. I tell people all the time, I have not heard a single colleague or anybody tell me that they want more crime. And, I think if that ever gets thrown around, that seems to be just more of like a punching bag quote, if anything. So hopefully you're right. Whatever the, leadership is at different, whether it's municipal or state, on the same page about how we can combat crime in our city is super important.
We got to hit this break, folks. First, this part of the program brought to you by Bo Goodson and the Goodson Group. And there at the Goodson Group, Bo and his team are ready to help you whether you're looking to buy or sell property or house here in the River Region real estate market. Bo's been helping buyers and sellers here in Montgomery and surrounding areas for about half a century now. And the Goodson Group, not only can they help you with buying and selling property, but they have management services available should you want to rent out your home, which is a great idea in this market. And why not, for a reasonable fee, have the Goodson Group manage that for you? Y'all check them out today. You can always learn more at thegoodsongroup.com or give them a call direct at 551-0225. That's 551-0225. Bo Goodson and the Goodson Group, great sponsor of the show. We'll be back more with Andrew Szymanski after this.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
This is your roving reporter. Today I'm talking with a prospector.
That's right, man. I'm prospecting for gold. You dig?
No, but it looks like you do.
And you know the first thing I'm going to do when I strike it rich?
What's that?
I'm going to hire David Ernest to be my money man.
You mean everyone's favorite asset preservationist?
That is correct, man. I'm going to call him up at 833-596-7233. 833-596-SAFE.
You know, I've heard a lot of the good things about David Ernest.
You know, he's the best money man around with over 40 years of experience.
Experience is necessary, especially when you're digging for gold.
That's right, man.
And I can see that you don't have very much experience.
What do you mean, man?
Well, you have the little plastic bucket and shovel like a kid would take to the beach.
Yeah, man. Well, I want to start out small and then kind of pace myself up until I strike it rich.
Well, maybe you should call David Ernest first.
You think he's got a shovel?
Never know till you ask.
I dig, man.
Need some extra cash? Gold and silver are at an all-time high. Turn your old coins, currency, or gold and silver into money at Trademark Coins and Currency, the only coin shop in the River region with over 40 years of experience. Veteran owned and operated, and proudly serving Montgomery from their location off Vaughn Road. Trademark Coins and Currency is always buying, and free appraisals means there's no pressure, just real value. Make an appointment today. Learn more at trademarkcoinsandcurrency.com. Trademark Coins and Currency. Experience you can count on.
Are you tired of the mainstream media's biased reporting? Do you want to stay informed on the news that really matters to you? Look no further than 1819 News. At 1819 News, we bring you the latest in Alabama news, politics, sports, culture, and more. We've assembled a team of journalists with Alabama values dedicated to the truth and the truth alone. Visit us at 1819news.com today. That's 1819news.com. Subscribe to our newsletter. Honest News, Alabama Values.
What's your biggest investment? More than likely, it's your home. So treat it that way when you hire a painting contractor. At PBS Painting, there are no gimmicks, no $99 specials. Just quality painting and someone who treats your home with the same respect that you do. At PBS Painting, we have been painting for years and look forward to many more years to come. With PBS Painting, the job gets prepped properly, whether it's cleaning, scraping, or priming. We always use quality products, which is a must for a quality paint job. So if you're looking for a painter that doesn't need upfront money and is on the job at all times, then please give me a call. Scott Bowers and PBS Painting, 294-5122. That's PBS Painting, 294-5122. Look at some of our work on Facebook at PBS Painting Montgomery.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender.
Rich Thomas Weather is brought to you by McPhillip Schimbaum.
My name is Aaron Luck, a partner with the law firm of McPhillip Schimbaum. If you or someone in your family has been seriously injured by the negligence of someone else, call me directly.
262-1911. Rich Thomas Weather.
Well, hi, everybody. It is another much below normal late January winter's day. Sunshine today with a high temperature in the lower 40s. Not quite as windy as it has been. Partly cloudy, another deep freeze tonight. Overnight low temperature in the lower 20s. Partial sunshine, 47 on Wednesday. Upper 40s on Thursday, and the night still in the low to mid 20s. Then look for a fresh supply of new Arctic air arriving by, let's say, Friday night into Saturday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
CB&S Bank has digital banking solutions to help you keep up. Check balances, pay bills, and much more. Learn more at cbsbank.com. Charges and fees may apply from your cellular service provider. Contact your service provider for information. Member FDIC.
Trustworthy, accurate, immediate. Carrying your voice across the river region. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. This part of the program brought to you by James Cole and Cole Plumbing. And for any and all of your plumbing needs, Cole Plumbing can help you out, especially if you have a big problem like a massive water leak or gas line leak, these sorts of things. They understand time is of the essence and can get the job done quickly there for you. And without making a big old mess, tearing out a bunch of drywall, digging up a huge hole in your yard, big muddy mess inside or outside. No, they can do it with precision expertise there at Cole Plumbing. And of course, it could be smaller problems like a drippy faucet or a toilet that just keeps running and it's wasting water. It could be you don't notice something, but you see the power or the water bill's higher. You're like, okay, maybe we should get our pipes checked out. Or it could be you just want nicer things. Like maybe you're getting up there in age, so you want a taller toilet, so it's easier, sit down. Or it could be you want a tankless water heater system. They can help you with any and all of those sorts of upgrades. So y'all check out Cole Plumbing today. Again, you can always go to coleplumbing.com or give them a call direct at 279-8919. That's 279-8919. And just remember, folks, when you have trouble with your bowl,
call on Cole.
That's right, Byron. That's right.
Right on cue.
Andrew Szymanski still here in the studio.
It's relevant. I mean, right now,
Yeah.
I know people are, this is that time of year where we remind people to drip your faucets and be mindful. Make sure to, if you haven't, it's probably frozen solid now, but if your garden hose, if you forgot to drain that out from the summertime, I have a friend of mine in Atlanta who did not drip their faucet lines, and it is an incredible amount of damage that happens if you get a pipe burst. I'd always heard about it, and then it's like seeing the actual, and then the bill that came with that. So, not to keep going on about.
Oh no, but seeing
plumbing,
just the tree limb come through, I'm like, I can only imagine like if water's flowing, you need a general contractor because you got carpentry, you got drywall, you got plumbing, you got everything.
And a therapist. With all that, you're going to need some help.
Financial advisor.
Yeah.
Well, and I'll say now that I'm kind of experiencing a little bit of inconvenience, thank God nobody's hurt. It's not so much like, we'll go through the process of insurance. It's just stuff. But I will say being completely thrown off, like it's not the home physically, like your home and your routine. That I can't imagine somebody gets their entire home just knocked down, these sorts of things. Like, it just doubles down to me the importance of being able to take care of folks when these sort of, you can't control this.
Yeah.
It puts the fear of God in you. It should. When you start to see big tornadoes, or like I said the other day, I don't know how my dad lives on the ocean. The ocean scares me.
Yeah,
it's too powerful.
My parents actually got. Dad sent me a picture. They got 22 inches of snow yesterday, and my nephew is not in school yet, but got to do some sledding and really got to experience his first blizzard type snowstorm. But just all the chaos that comes with all these weather events, and they're never well timed and they're never convenient. And I know a lot of even just having to take off of work to try and deal with some of these things can be really crippling for some families. So anytime these things come in, I just immediately want to make sure that of course everybody's safe and okay. But then it takes days and weeks to really find the resolution. Who knows how long until all of the work is actually done and you feel like your home is back together. So it's a lot.
Now, in this wonderful year so far, I can't believe we're still in January. It's been a long month. After a breeze through, fast sprint through the holidays, like January has felt long and a lot's happened, especially national, international, and just it keeps on churning. But it is 2026. It is America's 250th birthday. Is there something you in particular representing the city of Montgomery, part of the city, and are you looking forward to this year?
Yeah, that's a great question. There's a lot of things to look forward to this year. We just made the new announcement about New Biscuits ownership, and given the challenges that we had in the fall around the shooting event in downtown, this is a really great opportunity for us to make sure that we have in place, the public safety systems that make sure that never happens again. To make sure that we don't abandon the businesses that are down there, to make sure that we are welcoming what will be about 1 million tourists that come to the city of Montgomery this year, and spend their money in our city, in our hotels, in our small businesses, and our bigger businesses. And so there's a lot to be excited for when it comes to that. And I also hope that this year, as we get ready to celebrate the 250th year, the state's got a lot of things planned around that. And it's just an opportunity for us to kind of remember, what it really means for us to live in this country, to enjoy living in this country, whether you're in Alabama or, I have families in Massachusetts, or you're in, Utah or California, Colorado, Minnesota, Illinois, Chicago, wherever. There's a lot of things I think that, we can celebrate about where we're at this point. And also, hopefully, it's a good year for us to have honest conversations about how we can take what we have and to make it better and stronger. Right. Montgomery, I talked to a lot of people. We've had this conversation before. There's a lot of people that really invest a lot of time and energy and effort into making this city great. And there's some people that are making those successes difficult. And we need to be confident when we say that that's not okay, in order to make sure that we're building a city that's ready for the future. And we've got a lot of unique things that'll be happening in the city this year, and I know some unique conversations. It's not going to get any easier, and I know at the city council level there'll be some real debates that we're going to have about how we're investing the money we have, the resources we have, and really how we can prioritize different projects that we want to see come to fruition.
Now, I want to shift to another one that was in the news. Can a brother get a slice? Some of the best pizza in town when it was open, had odd hours, and I'll say I like the guy. He's an odd duck. There's a certain eccentricity there, especially showing up to a council meeting, I guess, with a gladiator helmet on. And what, he hadn't paid $5,000 in taxes, something to that effect?
The exact number don't need to get into, but It was a substantial number. And look, that was an interesting thing, and it's a good question, because I've been on this show before talking about when we had that illegal nightclub that ended up closing because of the shooting that happened there. And I'm pounding the pavement saying, this is not okay. The way they are doing business is not okay, and it's hurting other good businesses.
What business? I'm sorry.
Oh, I had an illegal strip club in the district at one point.
Nice.
And so I'm just
Where was
trying
that?
to. Oh, you don't know? I figured you'd be first one in. But if we're gonna go after businesses because their activities, it's also not helpful to the business ecosystem to have businesses that are not doing the right things as corporate citizens, and that includes making sure that you're doing business and you have a city business license. It means that if you when you collect sales tax, one thing I had to remind some people of is when you collect sales tax, that's not yours, right? That was collected, and then as part of being able to operate in our city, you pass that on because it's not just us that is a creditor or a debtor for this particular business. The state had something to say about it as well, and so we got to make sure that we're being fair all across the board. And I've had the pizza. It's fabulous pizza. He is a quirky guy. A lot of respect for the fact that he took what was basically a cottage business and got it to a point. And I saw what seemed like a very heartfelt and genuine message he put on Facebook. And that's tough. But, every small business in this city is trying to do their best, and they are honoring their role as corporate citizens here by paying the taxes that they are collecting from people, and passing that along to the municipality.
Now, I was asked when all that was going down, was he being singled out because how many other people are operating without a license or not collecting those sales taxes? And I guess my take was, number one, you in particular, have been on top of this with other businesses that are not in compliance, to put it mildly. But I think also you hit a certain popularity. You make a certain amount of money, and if you don't have everything on the up and up, and in fact, I'd imagine you could probably operate a business for about a year. It's kind of small, whatever, and nobody's going to notice. But when you're known in town and you're not doing the fundamentals of operating, this is going to be a problem. And then the question becomes, do we have enough people, if it's not as high profile, the smaller folks that are violating all these good rules we have?
Well, actually, I give a lot of credit to our revenue department, and I have some challenges about some of the things that are happening, whether it's business licensing or whatnot. So it's not all roses when it comes to me and kind of revenue, but in this case, I actually give them a lot of credit, because I've had multiple people tell me that they've found themselves in similar tough positions, and that our revenue department has done a really good job of working with businesses to help them get on the right track. They understand that things happen. They understand that people are challenged, and we want businesses to be in operation in the city. We want as many, from a quality of life standpoint, from revenue generation. And so this instance, and this has happened with some other businesses, is that it got to this point because a plan had been laid out for the business owner in the city of how we can get them on the right track. And as was said out loud in the city council meeting, he defaulted on that plan. And so after that, in another attempt to try and rectify the situation, the opportunity to restart the plan again, after I asked for 2 more weeks of consideration, sir, can you make sure that you get with the revenue department? Let's see what we can do. It only comes to us because the payment plan option has failed.
It's gotten that far.
So we've gotten to it. I don't necessarily see it as a singling out. It's just that all other options had kind of been exhausted. And at this point, the business is still open. So now the next step is for the city council to decide whether or not it's going to take away the license. We had the review. We had the show cause hearing. I gave the business 2 more weeks to try and get it all figured out. And we just never got to that point of resolution. And so, I think you're right. It's easier when you become more popular if you've never had a license or haven't been paying taxes.
Right.
But if you are a business and you come on some hard times, we have some wonderful people that are willing to work with you to help keep your business going. Don't want this to be the only reason why you would have to shut down. If you can't make it after that, then we just have to make tough decisions.
Well, I like hearing that. I don't know, you personally are sensitive to that being a business owner yourself, but that it wasn't just like we got you sort of thing. It was more like, hey man, how many years are we going to do this?
Yeah, well, I mean, I had a couple of, I had people calling me that were saying like, you can't shut down
It's
Canada,
the pizza.
brother. It's the pizza guy. And I was like, I know, but I can't look over at this business and say, you got to do the right thing and you got to, this, and then be over here and be like, but the pizza is, it put me in a challenging spot. And I appreciated those people that reached out and they all were doing it from a compassionate place, I understand. And, we want to build a strong small business community here. And we want to make sure we are supportive of that. We're not doing enough as a city. We are not doing enough as a city to help our small business community grow. I know we can do more, but when we have small businesses that have the opportunities to succeed, they got to do their part as well.
Well, I think we've pretty much exhausted things for today.
I love that.
But I always appreciate your time, and I'm going to get to start ranting and raving about national crap here in a second. And also talk to the lovely Madeline Cannon with Alabama Home Mortgage. We got some stuff to go over. Hopefully it's coming up roses with the national economy, interest rates moving. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? And maybe, hopefully, Montgomery will feel that here in this upcoming year. I like your optimism as we look forward, and always welcome here on the program, sir.
Yeah, I mean, and the optimism comes with the understandings that we have challenged. We were just talking about how, if there were things were just a little bit different, the attractiveness of this city to some folks could grow. And again, we have to be intentional about how we're going to tackle that. And we have to be honest with ourselves about what our position is. And we have to look at the landscape and we have to listen to what people are saying, what they're asking for. Because if we just do without, really considering all of those factors, it's not going to feel like it's getting better. And perception is important, whether it be in public safety, whether it be in growth and opportunity, whether it be in any of these types of things. And that is what can really transform Montgomery and help us, make the case that this can be a great place to live, work, and play.
Well, appreciate the time, Andrew.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings 6 till 9 and afternoons 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
This holiday, make your home feel merry, bright, and beautifully furnished. Royal Furniture is celebrating the season with royal savings on living rooms, bedrooms, dining sets, and more. Right now, unwrap doorbuster deals and fast delivery. Need credit? Get the Royal Credit for any credit situation. Whether you're hosting the whole family or gifting comfort to yourself, it's the Royal Furniture Holiday Savings Event going on now. Royal Furniture in Auburn, Prattville, and Eastern Boulevard in Montgomery.
From weddings and concerts to cookouts and construction sites, TT Porta Toilets has been serving Central Alabama for over 30 years. Whether you need standard portable toilets with wash stations or upscale restroom trailers for special events, the Tierce family has the right solution for every occasion. So when you're planning your next big event or project, make it easy on yourself. Call 285-5513 or visit ttportatoilet.com. TT Porta Toilets. Clean, convenient, dependable.
E-Bike Oasis, E-Bike Oasis, E-Bike Oasis, ride for free. E-Bike Oasis, E-Bike Oasis, E-Bike Oasis, ride for free.
At E-Bike Oasis, we're more than just Montgomery's best electric bicycle store. E-Bike Oasis offers free 1-hour electrical bicycle rentals and a full-service electric bike repair shop. Stop by E-Bike Oasis in Montgomery today for free rentals, repairs, and electric bicycle brands in town.
Pizza's here. Oh, great. I'd love some, but I'm worried about my stomach issues.
If you're worried about having diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools, it may not just be stomach issues. It could be a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender.
All the headlines the mainstream media won't touch. Your News Talk station. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. And now joining us here in the studio, Madeline Cannon with Alabama Home Mortgage. How you doing today?
Doing good. I get here and everybody leaves.
I know. What is this?
I know.
Yeah, see you, Byron.
Love you all.
Good luck. Yeah, he's got stuff going on.
Does he?
Yeah, like work stuff.
Okay.
Which is a good sign in the political world. Anyway, the statewide races are going to be a car crash in a good way. We'll see that. But how's it going there at Alabama Home Mortgage?
Going great. It's cold outside, and I know a lot of people may not be thinking about their plans for spring, but we were outside in the backyard this past weekend, and I saw the robin redbreast on the fence, and they say that means spring's just around the corner. So hopefully it'll be warming up here soon, and with that, the market will be warming up as well. And so if you think you might want to be in the market as far as purchasing a home in the spring or summer, it's not too soon to go ahead and get started. I would actually encourage you to use time to your advantage. Go ahead and give us a call so that we can take an application and give you a game plan, go over the numbers so that there are no surprises once you start looking.
Well, especially because as the market heats up in the spring, and we're going to get a new Federal Reserve chairman.
That's right.
Rates will probably come down even more.
Yes.
Not to mention what Trump's trying to do with what Fannie and Freddie buying all these mortgage-backed securities, bring around the rate even more.
Yeah.
Folks, it's going to heat up and get fast real quick. So if you're already, you've already got the conversation and the relationship here with Madeline and Kim there at Alabama Home Mortgage, then you're ahead of the curve, as opposed to the folks who just sit there, on Zillow all day. And, look at this house, look at this.
That's a good starting point.
I get it, but you need a little more follow-through, a little more prep, folks.
That's right, because when you find that home that you're ready to call home, right, it's too late. At that point, everybody else has found it too. So let's go ahead and get you pre-approved so you can be the first one through the door and be ready to make your offer. And you're absolutely right. At the end of May, we're getting a new federal chairman. That doesn't leave a whole lot of runway between May and the midterm elections. And we know that they're going to want to buy favor with the electorate. They're going to want to see interest rates move. So I do anticipate to see a change. It's just how much and how fast.
And it could be somebody maybe recently got a mortgage and it's 7-8%, if not higher, and they're like, I could refinance right now.
Absolutely. I've got a VA client of mine that purchased a home in Montgomery right at a year ago and is already able to lower his interest rate over a percentage point, and it's going to save him over $300 a month.
Wow.
Yes. So if you have recently purchased or refinanced within the last year, it's not too soon.
Yeah, you get essentially a car payment off your back.
That's right. Yeah, what could you do with an extra $300 or $400 in your pocket each month?
Yeah, folks, you got to check out Alabama Home Mortgage, whether you're ready to pull the trigger today, right now, or if you're just looking to get prepared for this big year of 2026. Call them up today, 567-4223. That's 567-4223. Or you can always apply online at myalabamahomemortgage.com. There is a difference in mortgage companies. Let Kim Williams and Madeline Cannon prove that to you today. NMLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender. And before I hit the top of the hour break, how's just the rest of life that has nothing to do with work? How's life going?
Life's good.
Good.
I don't have any complaints.
Good. No, well, not to share it on air, but you just tell me stuff about kids. And it's just even though it's a frustration, I know for you at the moment, man, some of this stuff is just adorable. Like, I can't, my brother and his wife and my niece Lucy they're doing all right in Nashville, like pretty iced over and crazy. But he sent me the most adorable photo of her. It was a tree and almost like twigs off the tree that are frozen over, and she's just fascinated by the ice. And I'm like, okay, there's a tree through my roof, but that just makes my heart smile.
I know. We were really hoping to have some snow. They had a little snow to play with this time last year, but anyway.
Well, I still have memories of the 93 blizzard it was.
Mm-hmm.
I would have been 4 or 5 years old, and I remember my uncles coming over. They're like, we're not missing this. This never happens in Alabama. Went sledding, snowball fights, snowman building, all sorts of stuff. So, yeah, we can pray for some really good powdery snow here, but I'm glad everybody, for the most part, I've not heard of any major injuries or anybody really, really dead from what happened on Sunday. But
that was wild. We were in church, and in the sanctuary, we couldn't see what was going on, but we could hear it.
Yeah, I think it sounded kind of like a train on the interstate. And I'm like, is it flooding that my tire's hitting? I'm like, I don't think it is. I'm not seeing the water. Yeah, and it was just that front coming through, and it's like, okay, but we're all in one piece. And honestly, though it's inconvenient, it's just stuff at the end of the day. As long as you're all right, we're all right. Final hour coming up.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. The NTSB today is holding a hearing that should make clear exactly what caused that mid-air collision that killed 67 people near Washington, D.C. a year ago. That's when a commercial jetliner collided with a Black Hawk helicopter, killing all involved. There is no thaw in parts of the South as a fresh blast of Arctic air keeps much of the region gripped by snow and ice. At least 35 deaths have now been blamed on the storm. Also at srnnews.com, President Trump says he has agreed with the head of NATO on what he calls a framework for a future deal on Arctic security, potentially defusing tensions that had far-reaching geopolitical implications. Meanwhile, at a time of those growing tensions, NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte struck and convinces EU colleagues that Europe is incapable of defending itself without U.S. military support. This is SRN News.
Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. Now that we're finally into the new year, a lot of us are thinking about taxes, home projects we've been putting off, ways to get ahead financially in 2026. Now's the perfect time to talk to my friends at Fellowship Home Loans. If you want to lower your mortgage payment, they can help you refinance. If you need access to cash for home improvements or to wipe out high-interest debt, their fixed-rate line of credit is one of the best tools out there. Fast approval, predictable rate, and flexibility to use your home's equity wisely. Remember, many people still qualify to skip their next 2 mortgage payments. Imagine starting big projects or paying down debt with 2 months of breathing room. My family and I have used Fellowship personally. I trust these guys. Take control of 2026. Go to fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G. fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G. fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G. or call 800-510-MIKE. That's 800-510-6453. Fellowship Home Loans. Mortgage lending by the book.
Nationwide Mortgage Bankers, DBA Fellowship Home Loans, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS number 8193.
Rich Thomas Weather is brought to you by Wiley Sanders Truck Lines.
Go to work for a family that puts God and family first. Wiley Sanders is looking for experienced dump truck drivers. Call them today, 855-777-9785. Drive for Wiley Sanders Truck Lines and be part of the family.
Rich Thomas Weather.
Well, hi, everybody. It is another much below normal late January winter's day. Sunshine today with a high temperature in the lower 40s. Not quite as windy as it has been. Partly cloudy, another deep freeze tonight. Overnight low temperature in the lower 20s. Partial sunshine, 47 on Wednesday. Upper 40s on Thursday, and the night still in the low to mid 20s. Then look for a fresh supply of new Arctic air arriving by, let's say, Friday night into Saturday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
The holidays may be over, but the bills don't have to weigh you down. Let ASE Credit Union help lighten your financial load with our special post-holiday loan options. Visit us online at yourasecu.com or stop by one of our branches to learn more. Terms and conditions apply. Federally insured by NCUA.
1819 News.
The qualifying period for the 2026 election is now over. Those who are seeking to be put into elected office have now been determined. U.S. Senator Tommy Tuberville is running in the Republican primary race for governor, along with Ken McPheeters and Will Sanavasky. Democrats have 6 candidates running in that primary for the governor's race, including Doug Jones. When it comes to the U.S. Senate seat that Tuberville will be vacating at the end of this year, there are 5 Democrats running in their party primary and 7 Republicans. I'll be back with more Alabama stories after this.
Did you know that 70% of people experience a potentially traumatic event in their lifetime, and that 6 out of every 100 adults face PTSD every day? Help us bring hope to these survivors by signing up for your Alabama Distinctive PTSD Awareness license plate today. The great thing is you can sign up no matter when your current plate renews, and the first year is complimentary. All you need is your VIN number on hand. Drive awareness, drive hope, and customize your plate today at atease.org.
An Elba woman is being charged with 1 count of child abuse after a young boy was found to have internal injuries by the Coffee County District Attorney's Office. Emily Stroud was taking care of the 2-year-old boy while the father was at work. Stroud is the girlfriend of the boy's father. District Attorney James Tarbox is reporting that the boy had a lacerated liver along with a broken arm, black eye, and bruises. A judge is currently deciding on whether or not Stroud should be granted bond. The University of South Alabama has made a statement to 1819 News after it was revealed there was a sex toy bingo night held at the Student Center last week. The event was being sponsored by Planned Parenthood's on-campus student organization. The Director of Media Relations at USA, Lance Crawford, said that the proper request was made by Planned Parenthood for this event. However, groups are not required to submit an agenda or detailed information on what they will be doing. I'm Andrea Tice.
For more news affecting Alabamians, go to 1819news.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the daily newsletter.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number 1 in the number 2 business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
Don't you love the feeling of coming home to a clean house? Let Southern Bell's Cleaning Service get your home in order. Families in the River region trust Southern Bell's because they know Callan and Jesse will show up on time and believe in cleaning the old-fashioned way. They bring all their own supplies and specialize in full-service, residential, commercial, vacant properties, and construction cleanup. Estimates are always free. Call Southern Bells today at 546-0715 or follow them on Facebook at Southern Bells Cleaning River Region.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's News and Views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. I'm your host, Joey Clark. Byron Sheehy had to scoot, but Madeline Cannon is here in the studio with me. And Madeline, before we had Andrew Szymanski stop by and we talked some local things, we were on this kick, and I was telling you off air, I don't know, it's in my algorithm, but it's like woman on woman, just hate fest going on, politically wise. Like conservative women who have their own shows or podcasts or just followings, and they are calling out the liberal women. And it's something fierce. And there's one video I was about to share here that maybe we could watch together. And,
all right, let's see it.
Assess. Because, I mean, it's hysterical. It's over the top in the sense of, this is from a creator named Avery Day. I believe she is conservative, saying the weaponization of women's empathy might be the end of Western democracy. It's a little over the top. But maybe she has a point.
We can appreciate a little hyperbole every now and then, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we like Trump.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
So I think there's something to it. Let's listen in. This is, again, Avery Day, and she's going to start. She's sort of reacting. So it's like it's like Inception sort of thing. Video within a video within a video. Let's listen.
There is a difference between political beliefs and humanity. And no matter what your political beliefs are, if you don't think what's going on right now is wrong, I want you to go back and rewatch all of the videos that have been released and the way that it's been handled and the way that government officials are defending the behavior. It's mind-boggling.
The girls love to virtue signal. Her next slide is something that I've seen all over my Instagram feed. If your empathy only extends to people who look like you, sound like you, or act like you, that's not empathy, that's exclusivity. Conditional compassion is not compassion at all. Real empathy doesn't come with rules or regulations. It doesn't discriminate based on race, religion, or class. And if it does, that's not empathy, that's bigotry. Oh, the irony. I assume she knows the name of every single child that has been murdered by illegals. I assume she shed tears for Jocelyn and Gary and Evangeline Marino and Sebastian Marino and Estrello, Anastasia Peacock and Jeremy and Aria and Limber and Daniel and Travis and Genesis and Ariana. I assume she knows every single one of those stories. Otherwise, that would be bigotry. I assume she's seen the videos of what's happening in Iran. 30,000 people killed in 2 days. If she hasn't, that would be bigotry. Isn't that conditional compassion? These women are being manipulated by their emotions and they don't even know it. I feel for her, I do, because she's genuinely upset. And I get that. If you watch someone be killed on your screen, you should have an emotional reaction to it. But she hasn't had to watch all of the other horrors that have happened at the hands of illegals. She didn't have to watch an 11-year-old girl get raped at knife point by an illegal. And I'm glad she didn't. I am. But that doesn't mean you turn a blind eye to what is going on and what happens as a result of these politics. Because yes, it is about politics. These are politicians that are literally harming people, getting people killed. And Alex and Renee Good made personal decisions to put themselves in harm's way. The victims of these crimes committed by illegals, they didn't make those decisions, politicians did. There's such a lack of understanding of the fact that Obama did this at a much larger scale and in worse conditions. We have to have secure borders. We have to deport people who are not in this country legally.
Now, stopping it there, and there's a little more to this, but she's reminded me that's an old school thought that, in fact, what was the term they used when I first started in radio? Security moms. Like if women felt unsafe, whether it was national security matters, but it more had to do with crime and drugs and these sorts of things, or what's happening right now, say with social media and young kids. There are a lot of mothers that really care about securing things, especially for their children, and yet we've seen the rise of this sort of, I would say, they claim empathy, but it's often very selective. And I think I'm always astounded, by the way, by the lack of just strategic empathy on the part of so many folks.
Well, it's because they dehumanize the people that they don't empathize with.
Right. And it's like, well, it goes back to an old conversation of people just want to say Hitler was an insane psychopath. And I'm like, I think he was a psychopath, but just insane? It was just insanity that broke out in Germany. And it's like, no, the Russians and the Bolsheviks and everything they ended up doing, that's just insanity and barbarity. But you have to, if you really want empathy, you have to be able to understand the worst of the worst along with the best and the most vulnerable. Like, and I'm seeing this constantly with Trump. You don't have to agree with the guy. Like, I notice constantly that they paint him as just crazy or as like there's no logic to this at all, where clearly there is logic to a lot of moves being made by this administration that millions of people are attuned to. You don't have to think they're right, but the amount of just talking past one another is, I don't know, truly remarkable.
Yeah. As they say, I think the term is now gaslighting.
Yes. Well, there are people that do it willfully, or the activist types. Yeah. But, I mean, and I'm hoping it's not just my algorithm, but it really does seem to be a thing of women of a certain age, usually white women of a certain age, millennials. If they are liberal, there's a whole extremity to it. It's one thing to kind of want, well, you know, a little more government, raise taxes a little bit and redistribute more, but it's become this almost identity that is like the polar opposite, I guess, of what my cohort is a single guy. And you're starting to see, in particular, even in the black community, younger men are starting to break with more of the orthodoxy there. So I don't know what this is. I know you're not a liberal by any means, but I mean, I'm sure you've possibly seen the same thing in your own dealings with folks, like your age group.
Yeah, well, I mean, you and I are about the same age, so.
Yeah.
I think there's a big divide between those in our age group that are parents and their ideology versus those that are not. It seems to be those that are married with children tend to have a different worldview than maybe the one who is more liberal in their leanings.
Is it like more practical in the sense that like you're a mom and I've got to do these particular things to take care of these kids I love so much, and it just gives perspective? Or there's other theories that men and women tend to balance each other out when they're in a good marriage. You kind of get the different temperamental perspectives that do create that equilibrium.
I think it's because it's something that's greater than yourself. Like they claim to be caring about everybody else, but they're very much self-centered in their interest.
I've heard this before too, that like essentially the vulnerable minorities are like their babies. Mm-hmm. Like that nurture instinct goes towards the marginalized group, so to speak, as opposed to like actually taking care of a vulnerable kid that you love that is, you know, something that you're obligated to.
Well, and like the ones in Minnesota that are all dressed in the Handmaid's Tale costume standing outside. And I'm like, but what they don't understand is what is happening to women in Iran, like what she just said. Right. You know, they don't know oppression here in the United States.
Right. Well, and there's also, like, I say this to be hyperbolic, but what is the clip? Cate Blanchett, she played Phyllis Schlafly in some show they made, and people are sharing it on the right wing because folks are like, yeah, Phyllis was kind of right about a lot of stuff. Like the effects that would happen with the feminist revolutions. And I think we're seeing the ugly fruit of it, and I'm not exactly happy about it because I think it's a crying shame, and it's not like you have to rebuild the old patriarchy exactly as you thought of it, maybe in the 1800s. But there's logic to these things, and it seems like this is driving our politics. That is, I think, the number one thing. If you're a single white woman or a single white male, that divide between those two, I think, is the starkest in the nation.
And what's wild to me is that we talk about feminism and the patriarchy and all, but this is also the same group that claims there is no gender.
Yeah.
So it's like they want to have their cake and eat it too. They want to be pro-feminist and pro-woman, but they can't even tell you what a woman is.
No, I'm already getting text messages and stuff, and folks, we're obviously talking about on the average. You could be a single woman without kids, and you could have your head screwed on straight, so to speak.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, we're not talking about the totality of that group.
Yeah, there's on average, though, you start to see these things play out, and it's remarkable to witness, and I don't have a solution to it necessarily, other than it's almost like we want to refuse that nature plays a role, that men and women are different, and I've told people this for years, even as my politics maybe started to change and shift a little bit. that your temperament is probably the number one predictor of your politics. Before you ever have a rational thought or any life experience or all the practical experience in the world, people can change, but for the most part, whatever your temperament is, that's probably going to be your politics before you ever think about it. And you see that it's interesting how that plays out with the differences between the sexes, that there are certain temperamental differences between men and women, and it shows in our politics and our media and just so much that we consume.
Tell me more.
Well, for instance, like the biggest marker would be, on average, again, there are always exceptions to these rules, outliers. But on average, men tend to be more interested in things, and women tend to be more interested in people.
Okay.
And so that will have spin-off effects of, there will be those guys who like the engineer types, these sort of types they don't really care what everybody else in the room thinks. They want to know if it's true or not.
Okay.
Whereas, again, on average, there are going to be more women who go, well, it's not. Everybody needs to get along,
Mm-hmm.
and
it's more relational.
And also there's an aspect of, I want to survive. I don't want to be the outlier in my friend group. If all my friends are doing this thing right now, I better not be the odd duck out, because that actually could be dangerous for me. And so you see these things play out in ways that I think the sentiment that we're all just blank slates, and it's all just nurture, it's all what society chooses and molds us into. I think it's nonsense. I think there are underlying things that we, as we build culture in society, need to recognize.
Well, the only way you would recognize that is if you recognize that you're wonderfully made by a creator.
Amen. Amen. And he made them male and female.
That's correct.
Though, I guess, what's that one guy? James Talrico is running, I guess, for Senate as a Democrat in Texas. Claims to be a Christian. And I think he suggested that in one speech that God is non-binary because of the Greek words used in that creation context. And I'm like, oh, my goodness. I would have to quibble with that a little bit. But you would think, yeah, if folks can get on the same page. I'll put it this way, and I've got another clip here. It's an old one. And this actually plays into what we were just talking about. And this is the lady who was running NPR, the whole top thing, Catherine Meyer, something to that effect. And she was talking about how the truth kind of gets in the way of figuring things out. Right. Right. It's sort of...
Well, it's because and nowadays, everybody has their own truth.
Yep.
And truth is not subjective.
No. But, well, here, let's listen in. This is, again, it's worth repeating.
But one of the most significant differences, critical for moving from polarization to productivity, is that the Wikipedians who write these articles aren't actually focused on finding the truth. They're working for something that's a little bit more attainable, which is the best of what we can know right now. And after 7 years there, I actually believe that they're onto something. That for our most tricky disagreements, seeking the truth and seeking to convince others of the truth isn't necessarily the best place to start. In fact, I think our reverence for the truth might have become a bit of a distraction that is preventing us from finding consensus.
You seem annoyed.
Yeah, because everything's in the ether and everything's gray. Sometimes it's just black and white.
And
there's truth and then there's not truth.
Amen. And then listen to that again. She says, "What instead of truth, what do we need?"
A bit of a distraction that is preventing us from finding consensus. And getting important things done. Now, none of that's to say that the truth isn't important. The truth obviously exists. It's at the core, or the search for the truth is at the core of some of our...
Oh, see how she corrected herself? Not that the truth is at the core, but the search for the truth. What?
So that's a key thing. And, I was having this thought today. Consensus can be a fine thing. Sure. Like, it's good to be on the same page with folks, same wavelength.
But they want you to be on their wavelength.
Right. And they want to be able to manipulate they want to be able to change that wavelength like fashion, especially with the use of certain words. That's usually how...
Reimagine.
Yes.
Yes.
Usually ruling elite classes use language. Sometimes they've used clothes. There were literally laws about who could wear particular types of clothing and colors before. But Mostly, especially in the modern context, it's been manipulation of language. So we have a consensus, and it's the search for the truth, but don't you dare start nerding out, especially you men out there, and saying, well, here's what the actual truth is. The studies, I could be wrong, like any good scientist, blah, 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 blah. So having consensus just for consensus' sake and getting things done can lead to some really terrible outcomes.
I think consensus in this is just another way of saying collectivism.
Yes, yes, amen. And I would say you need consensus on some fundamentals. You need sort of an understanding on a lot of the fundamentals of what is the ethos of your society. What's the story we tell ourselves as a people? And I think a lot of folks like this lady and, say, the progressive elite have been doing a lot of work, and a lot longer than people want to admit, for about a century now, on the story they want Americans to think about themselves. And maybe it's time to push back against that, because this was actually shared again in the context of it's only going to get worse with technology. I want to share this. One of my favorite follows called Autism Capital on X. And it's just right up my alley. They talk about a person more interested in things. They say, can't really overstate enough how important this realization will be moving forward. AI video, audio, deepfakes, scams, etc. are all the worst they're going to be right now, and they're already nearly indistinguishable from reality. We're in a post-truth society, one where you can't trust your eyes, your ears, or your senses. Everything digital is open to manipulation. Eventually, everything physical will also be open to manipulation. How do we create trust and truth in a post-truth and trust world? How do you find what is real when everything is fake? This isn't science fiction. This is near future reality. Establish your tribes now and don't let go. So the journey I'm at least going through personally is, yeah, I better find a story that is not been made recently. Find something that is a lot older than anything I could have thought up or even
proven.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Things that are revealed, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And it does freak me out just how easily people are manipulated, how often feel manipulated myself. And this is the journey I've been on. Look, I put it that way after I saw Charlie Kirk's assassination, that right before that was Irina Zarutska, the young woman who was stabbed, just randomly stabbed on
the bus.
Yeah, on the metro or something like that. And I remember the way I put it, I think in my writing as I was thinking it through, is it was like I was consuming poison and being trained to spit poison. Seeing that video, the Irina Zarutska. And there was something about the Kirk video where other people, I think, took the same message, that they were consuming poison and spitting it out at other people. And I'm like, there's got to be a different way. I don't like this effect on me. Like seeing every angle of every crazy violent event and every hot take, deconstructing it and twisting it to different purposes and agendas and stuff. I'm like, what is real? And it makes me think back. Have you seen or ever read the dedication, I think, of the Chronicles of Narnia that C.S. Lewis did?
I have read the Chronicles, but I don't remember the dedication. You'll have to.
Yeah, because I believe C.S. Lewis wrote it for a young woman, a little girl at the time when he started. And, well, it took him a while to actually finish the whole series. Mm-hmm. And this is close to my heart, given Lucy is a family name. This is the dedication by C.S. Lewis. My dear Lucy, I wrote this story for you, but when I began it, I had not realized that girls grow quicker than books. Mm-hmm. As a result, you are already too old for fairy tales, and by the time it is printed and bound, you will be older still. But someday you will be old enough to start reading fairy tales again. You can then take it down from some upper shelf, dust it, and tell me what you think of it. I shall probably be too deaf to hear and too old to understand a word you say, but I shall still be your affectionate godfather, C.S. Lewis. And that one line in particular, but someday you will be old enough to start reading fairy tales again. I think there is a type of truth that you could say a story is just straight up fiction, Like you read a great old novel and you know the person who wrote it and it's not a piece of history. But you can still learn a lot of things truer than most things in this world, and especially in the day-to-day news or on AI-generated sites.
Absolutely.
Now apply that to stories that go beyond even when we were writing words down.
Mm-hmm.
And stories, even though they're written down, there are so many echoes and ties, and you start to go, maybe men literally wrote this in a sense, but they didn't know what they were doing. How does this thing written hundreds of years before this thing actually add up and tie together? And so it's led me on that journey. I think that's how you do reconcile a lot of the stuff we're seeing in this world, the sort of divide between the sexes, but especially just in general, this post-truth, post-trust is you have to go back to the fundamental stories that we share. And it's a matter of sharing that in a way that isn't just a lecture like I do here on the radio every freaking day. It's got to be that interrelational almost example, embodied example that we put forward. And my belief is, I'll put it simple and stop talking around it. For all the talk of we got to fight the debt and the deficit, we got to shut the border and kick all the immigrants out, we got to be America first in our foreign policy, and we got to get our monetary policy right too, and our trade policy, and healthcare sucks in this nation. And why is college so freaking expensive? And what are we doing about crime in the streets? And no. For all that stuff, and it's important that there are earnest people practically working on solving those issues. If we do not turn back to God as a nation and pray, truly pray, you can for petition, but truly understand it's not even about you. In the same way that an individual can be given over to their own desires, nations can too. And the more I look at this nation at large, the folks who are loud and very proud online, God help us if they represent what is actually the fundamentals of this society. My hope and prayer is that there are a lot of folks, you don't know their names, but they're doing the right things and putting one foot in front of the other.
Well, all this talk about truth, he says, I am the way, the truth, and the life.
Amen. 272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation. That's 334-272-9228. From that to this part of the program brought to you by Pest Pro Services. And, it's cold. I've got a hole in my roof at this point. Maybe if I start hearing a little pitter-patter in the night
There's
in
no
the
barrier
attic,
between you and the outside anymore.
Like, is that a bird or a squirrel? We got rabbits over there in County Downs, too.
Okay.
See them zooming around every once in a while. If you got a little critter trying to make a home out of your home in these winter months, Pest Pro Services can offer that great wildlife control service. They can remove a creature if it's already in there, or they can make sure your property's jam up and jelly tight, as the song says. And of course, year-round, they can do basic pest control inspection, get signed up for their monthly subscription model. Great way to control pest control cost over the entire year. And you can add to that termite inspection and protection, as well as mosquito protection when the season is right. Really great folks, and what a success story out of the pandemic. Ashley is just kicking butt and is such a wonderful person. It's hard to put into words. She's looking out for folks in many ways. And of course, let her and the great team there at Pest Pro look out for you when it comes to any and all of your pest control needs. You can always learn more at ppsriverregion.com or search Pest Pro Services on the Book of Faces or call them direct at 265-9990. That's 265-9990. And be sure to tell them that Joey and Madeline on the radio sent you. I think I've waxed poetic enough, or whatever the heck that was. We'll be right back.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
Hi, I'm Carl Schmidt, naturopath and owner of the Herb Shop Wellness Center at 8161 Vaughan Road. With over 30 years experience in natural wellness, I've seen countless health fads come and go. A few years ago, we added a patented technology that actually activates your stem cells. It reverses the aging process at the cellular level. However, you do need proper hydration and targeted nutrition. At the Herb Shop, our advanced scanning and testing technology allows us to accurately assess your nutritional needs and get a customized plan for you. Come in today and see what the Herb Shop can do for you.
Hi, this is Bo Goodson from the Goodson Group with your Real Estate Minute. Are you getting ready to put your home up for sale? Remember the 6 P's. Prepare your home by deep cleaning, painting where needed, yard work, decluttering the inside. Present your home to the market through the experienced realtor who knows how to market the home and get it sold. Price the home at fair market value of what the home should bring in today's market. Your realtor can guide you in pricing the home to sell, not sit. Pay for part of the closing cost and provide a 1-year warranty. Buyers today don't have the down payment and all the cost of buying a home without some help. Prepare to look at offers from the marketplace and accept the best offer for your needs. And 6, place your trust in experienced professionals, including your realtor, closing attorney, and mortgage company. For all the details, call Bo Goodson at the Goodson Group, 221-2883. And remember, we are now hiring agents, both new and experienced. Call me today for an interview. Bo Goodson, 221-2883.
For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state, while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com.
Did you know that 80% of New Year's resolutions fail by February? And did you know there's a good chance it's just hormones? Hi, I'm Evan Bass, founder of Montgomery Men's Health, and I started this clinic to take care of men. If your testosterone is low, then motivation, energy, and drive often follow too. And keeping resolutions can feel like walking through mud. Even more so as we age, these things tend to get worse if untreated. Guys, you're not alone. Your urologist-led support team at Montgomery Men's Health has your back. For years, we've effectively treated ED and low T comprehensively and with proven treatments dialed in just for you. With same-day booking, you can meet our passionate team, and by this afternoon, you'll leave with a plan that's designed to be sustainable for life. The number one thing we hear guys say is, I forgot how I used to feel. Guys, it's time to feel amazing and crush this new year. Call my team right now and let us treat you to an unforgettable experience. Dial 334-440-3663 or go to montgomerymenshealth.com. montgomerymenshealth.com.
This is your roving reporter. Today I'm talking with a prospector.
That's right, man. I'm prospecting for gold. You dig?
No, but it looks like you do.
And you know the first thing I'm going to do when I strike it rich?
What's that?
I'm going to hire David Ernest to be my money man.
You mean everyone's favorite asset preservationist?
That is correct, man. I'm going to call him up at 833-596-7233. 833-596-SAFE.
You know, I've heard a lot of good things about David Ernest.
You know, he's the best money man around with over 40 years of experience.
Experience is necessary, especially when you're digging for gold.
That's right, man.
And I can see that you don't have very much experience.
What do you mean, man?
Well, you have the little plastic bucket and shovel like a kid would take to the beach.
Yeah, man. Well, I want to start out small and kind of pace myself up until I strike it rich.
Well, maybe you should call David Ernest first.
You think he's got a shovel?
Never know till you ask.
I dig, man.
Ugh, time to clean out the gutters again.
But I don't want you climbing that ladder.
Time to call Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection company. Leaf Filter's trusted pros will not only clean your gutters for you, they'll realign and seal your gutters and install Leaf Filter. With Leaf Filter, you'll never have to clean out your gutters again.
Wait, never again?
Never again. Because Leaf Filter's surgical-grade stainless steel micro mesh is fine enough to block even tiny debris like pine needles and pollen, while still letting rainwater flow through. Leaf Filter works so well, it's backed by a lifetime warranty. Plus, when you go to leaffilter.com/block, you'll get a free gutter inspection and up to 30% off.
Wow. So no more climbing that ladder.
How do I sign up?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/block for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/block for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/block.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is #1 in the #2 business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
Rich Thomas Weather is brought to you by McPhillips Schimbaum.
My name is Aaron Luck, a partner with the law firm of McPhillips Schimbaum. If you or someone in your family has been seriously injured by the negligence of someone else, call me directly.
262-1911. Rich Thomas Weather.
Well, hi, everybody. Not only are the days cold, the nights continue very cold. We're expecting low 20s again tonight. Generally clear skies, up to about 47 even with the sunshine tomorrow. Upper 40s again on Thursday, still dry. In fact, I think we'll be precipitation-free through the end of the week into the weekend, with another surge of Arctic air arriving by Friday night into the upcoming weekend. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Budget Floors and More has the best prices. Carpet as low as 69 cents per square foot. LVP starting at $1.29 a square foot. Sheet vinyl as low as 65 cents per square foot. And the lowest prices on flooring installation supplies. Budget Floors and More across from Delray Publix.
We get Montgomery talking 24 hours a day. The River Region's most trusted voice. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Now that we're on the, we got a little bit into the religion conversation there in the last segment, at least for Roman Catholics, but I think this is one of the early church fathers that anybody who wants to study early Christianity should read, is St. John Chrysostom. He had been a bishop of Constantinople for less than 10 years when he died in exile in 407, but his place in history ranks among the giants of Catholic literature. He suffered intensely as bishop and was forced into exile because of his uncompromising defense of the church's rights in conflict with the state. He represents a new stage in the history of Christianity. The great writers who preceded him had to defend the true faith against heretical innovators, but Chrysostom had to protect the church against political oppressors. The epithet Chrysostom means golden mouth and identifies him as a powerful orator. He had a lively mind, a fertile imagination, a perfect sense of proportion, and an extraordinary depth of feeling. These features stand out even now. Like, I've read some of his stuff, and you're like, this guy wrote this how long ago? Like, it's pretty amazing. More than 1,500 years later, they stand out and are present in both his sermons and published writings. His published oratorical works by actual count number over 1,000, some of which are extensive homilies on the New Testament. Among these are sermons on Genesis, 67 homilies, Matthew and John, 178 homilies, and on St. Paul's epistles, 250 homilies. The latter are considered the best commentaries on the Apostle of the Gentiles. The non-oratorical writings are numerous and range across the spectrum of Christian faith and morals. The treatise on the priesthood is the finest of his writings and perhaps the first really great pastoral work ever written, although he was only a deacon when he wrote this book. It stresses the dignity of the priesthood. The priest, it says, is greater than kings, angels, or parents, but priests are, for that reason, most tempted to pride and ambition. Yeah. What's the old joke about the Baptist pastor when you invite him over for dinner or something along those lines? No. It's not just, obviously we can pick a lot of examples from the Roman example of abuses by priests and bishops and so many other things. But I think anybody who takes up that mantle, tempted by pride and ambition, they more than anyone else need clear and unshakable wisdom, patience that disarms pride, and exceptional prudence in dealing with souls. Chrysostom's short address on vainglory and the right way of for parents to bring up their children is a treasury of practical wisdom that is still useful in our day. Now, On virginity, he praises marriage, but points out that virginity is preferable, as taught by St. Paul in his letter to the Corinthians. Interesting take there. And when he wrote in defense of the faith, his approach was unlike that of Athanasius. Chrysostom was above all a practical apologist. His classic Against Julian and the Pagans was a reasoned proof of the credibility of Christianity against the apostate Emperor Julian. He argued from the miracles of Christ and recent prodigies that had occurred when the remains of Christian martyrs were being transferred to their permanent resting place. A favorite theme of Chrysostom was the providential role of suffering. He wrote, "To those who are scandalized because of adversity," and entitled one of his short books, "No one is injured except by himself." His argument is that suffering is an integral part of divine providence, and that to be a true follower of Christ means to experience what Christ experienced, namely opposition and the cross. It is a tribute to Chrysostom's genius that so much of what he said has been preserved over the centuries. One reason for this is that he used the sacred scriptures as the principal and almost only source of his ideas. In fact, he made them a law for every preacher. He preferred the literal method for explaining the scriptures and concentrated on the moral teachings of the Bible. It can safely be said that no other biblical commentator in history has ever brought together so much thought, Christian thought, so calmly and sensibly, with such spiritual depth and with such ease and skill. And I first discovered him because I was looking up, it's just the way I was feeling as I was reading the scriptures again. Like, is there a Christian example of somebody who was like a hermit, like away from things? And yeah, for a lot of his early life, I believe he lived just quiet, like in a cave or something, almost died because of it. But he just felt so against the world with all the political authorities. And what I find is it's good to find a good preacher. It's good to find a good priest or a practical spiritual mentor or a Bible study group and folks that you can go through things together and understand. But I've found, being the loner I am in many ways, I can commune with these voices that go back 1,500 years. They go back even further. And what you find is, I think, a lot of solace in these early church fathers. We think life and the craziness of our time, and it is crazy and nothing like it ever in recorded human history. But you think about the suffering those men had to go through, those men and women had to go through. It's, I don't know. It gives me perspective. I'll put it that way. Perspective. Anyway, just wanted to share that. Ran across that today. Other thing I ran across, though, is a poll. I believe this is, who is this, AP? Or Echelon Insights, excuse me. Echelon Insights. It is a 2028 Dem primary poll among 4 candidates. Harris, no, she runs again, Kamala Harris. What is that, Mr. President? You were saying something?
I'm a better looking person than Kamala.
Yeah. Gavin Newsom.
You mean Newscomb?
Newscomb. AOC, and Pete Buttigieg.
What a lineup.
Mm-hmm. So this that I'm looking into, and you can see more detail and more crosstabs, as they call it, white Democrats.
Okay.
Newsom's 27% support. He's leading the pack with 27%. Harris, 15%. Buttigieg, 11%. AOC, 10%. Actually, a pretty wide open field. Newsom, governor, name ID, yada, yada, yada. Hispanic Democrats. Newsom, 35%. Harris, 29%. Only 9% for AOC from the Hispanic community, and 3% for Pete Buttigieg. And black Democrats. Harris, 38%. Newsom, 23%. AOC, only 4%. And amongst black Democrats, from this Echelon Insights poll, Pete Buttigieg gets 0%. I wonder why.
Little identity politics not going their way?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, but when you stretch this out to the whole field, 2028 National Democratic primary, Newsom, 27%, Harris, 21%, AOC, 9%, Pete Buttigieg, 8%, Mark Kelly, 4%, Whitmer, I guess, governor.
What about Jasmine Crockett? Where does she poll on there?
I don't think they included her.
She and AOC were supposed to team up.
J.B. Pritzker, I guess, the governor of Illinois, only 3%. Josh Shapiro of Pennsylvania, only 3%. Cory Booker, oh, God.
I mean, this is the quote best they have to offer.
Raphael Warnock, who does have the gift of gab, good orator, but only 2%. Andy Beshear, I guess governor of Kentucky, 2%. Wes Moore, don't even know who that is, 1%. Rahm Emanuel, 0%. Chris Murphy, senator, 0%. Jared Polis, I think governor of Colorado, 0%. John Fetterman, 0%. Ro Khanna, 0%. So, like, it's Newsom or Harris. What is it with, like, picking folks from California? Like, I don't understand. Is it just California will always be the future of the nation for progressive Democrats? Because it doesn't look like a good case study at the moment.
I guess they're just looking at population and the Electoral College votes.
Yeah. And we have news on that. There's a new forecast for the 2030 apportionment. And this is, I guess, based on new census data that came in. Trump states will get a plus 11 in the Electoral College. Harris states will get minus 11.
Well, there you go, because they're
Right.
leaving states like California for Texas and Florida. And
Right. California will lose 4 Electoral College
what
votes.
about New York?
And New York will lose 2.
Okay.
And Illinois will lose 2.
Okay.
And Texas will gain 4. Florida will gain 4.
See, there you go.
Georgia's going to gain 1. North Carolina's going to gain 1. Arizona, Utah, Idaho are all going to gain 1. And yeah, and you've got a few others that are going down. But it shows like, oh yeah, and then if you add to that, because the Supreme Court punted on this instead of actually making a decision, should illegal immigrants be counted for purposes of apportionment in the U.S. Congress and the Electoral College? The answer should be obviously no.
Correct.
You can't invite in foreign-born populations to give yourself an advantage, an electoral advantage.
Yeah, if you're not able to vote, you shouldn't be counted towards Electoral College votes.
Right. So I wonder if you put down a rule like that, how even more this changes. And if the Supreme Court were waiting, I've been predicting for a few months now that Clarence Thomas, this will be his last hurrah on Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act and how it's been interpreted at least since the 80s. To where essentially, and sometimes I think I saw Tabitha Eisner saying this on her Facebook page, kind of giving the game away. She was making the argument for proportionality. So if 27% of the state of Alabama is black and they vote, mostly black Alabamians vote for Democrats, then they should have about, give or take, 27% of the congressional seats, right? And Clarence Thomas has been arguing, and I think convincingly, at least to me, for about 30, almost 40 years now, that flies in the face of the 14th Amendment and individual rights protections. There's no such thing as a group entitlement right, and especially if you're going to start basing on proportionality. And I believe in the early 90s, he predicted this is exactly where this will go. It'll just be this proportionality group entitlement, and that's unconstitutional.
Well, it's already happening in the way they draw the congressional lines anyway. They intentionally drew that, was it the 7th District?
Yes.
So that we would have Terry
And
Sewell.
I believe that case in the 90s was that district.
Yeah.
That Thomas first brought this up. So he's been champing at the bit you can say it both ways, to really get this done. In fact, I think the case is Louisiana v. Calais. And when the court said, yeah, we'll hear this case about redistricting and congressional districting in Louisiana, Thomas dissented to even hearing the case because he's like, we already have enough facts. We don't need to hear this again. We need to just strike this down. And the last time this was heard, the recent case in Alabama, Kavanaugh was kind of sending signals that he's starting to agree with Thomas. So it might very well be if that happens, you might not have any Democrat representatives from Alabama. Maybe you'll have one again. But if Democrat legislatures in places like California and Virginia and Illinois and Massachusetts and so many other places, if they're allowed to gerrymander, which is an inherently political process, to their party's benefit, Republicans should be allowed to do that too, including white Republicans in the South. And this idea that what became Section 2, a lot of stuff is going to stay in there. That's good. Like no poll taxes, no literacy tests, none of this crap. But this idea that you have to have proportional representation based on how you draw the maps, I think is incorrect. Mm-hmm. And that could affect even more to the Republicans' advantage going forward. It all depends on what the court decides. But we'll probably be hearing that ruling any day now. Also outstanding with the court is the tariff question, which will be, if they rule against Trump, it's not even for a partisan point. What a mess.
Oh, yeah.
Like the entire year and this whole structure that what a mess that'll be. My prediction is they will do a process thing where they're like, well, he probably doesn't have just carte blanche, like full authority to do whatever under this statute, but we don't really have a clear interpretation of the statute, and we on the court aren't prepared to give that interpretation, so they're going to kick it down to a lower court, and it's going to take years to get back up to them.
And I don't know this is not a knowing question, but was it challenged in the 80s when Ronald Reagan did the same thing?
I don't know if it
or
was
is it just
or
a
not.
matter of we're challenging it because we're never Trumpers? We don't want to do anything.
Well, there's definitely that going on
Yeah.
with the judicial. Everything is a power game.
Mm-hmm.
Like you would like to think, no, judiciary is neutral, or no, these people are no, unfortunately not. That's just not the nature of any government ever, even one called a democracy. And we got to hit another break. First, this part of the program brought to you by Dylan Rings, and we were reminding folks, gentlemen, Valentine's Day is coming up. It's like essentially 2 weeks away. You dopes. What
You
are
listening,
doing?
Colby?
Colby. Talking to you, sir. No, I'm talking to all fellas out there with a lady in your life, whether it's your lovely wife or your girlfriend. And heck, it doesn't even have to be your romantic person. Get your mom something. Get somebody you know who maybe can use a gift. Like just a surprise thing. Valentine's Day is right around the corner, so get by Dylan Rings if you particularly want to impress on Valentine's Day. They have an amazing selection inventory Leslie and Josh put together. They can do custom design work for you. They always have great sales, discounts going on, especially with such a big holiday coming up when it comes to the matters of love. And so Dylan Rings is a great way to show, well, your appreciation, your true love for the lady in your life. But you got to get by there and don't procrastinate. Don't wait. It'll be here before you know it. We're almost done with January. And the 14th is right around the corner. So y'all check out Dylan Rings today. Get by 119 Brown Springs Road here in Montgomery, just off of Atlanta Highway. And be sure to tell them that Joey and Madeline sent you.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings 6 till 9 and afternoons 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
We get this question all the time.
Do you handle that?
Buying or selling a home?
Yes.
Commercial?
Yes.
Land or investments?
Absolutely. Hannah and Eddie Realty Group. One team.
Every real estate move. 334-322-0662.
Lewis at the Capital Oyster Bar, and I just want to tell you, if you're in business or got an event coming up and want to do some advertising, wisely spent dollars are spent down here at Blue Water Broadcasting. All the guys are nice, easy to work with, and I see results, I guarantee you.
Radio reaches over 90% of everyone in the river region. Shouldn't your ads be out there where your customers are? Call us to find out more. Blue Water Broadcasting. Local folks helping local business.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number one in the number two business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
If it concerns your community, you'll hear about it on News Talk 93.1. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Let's go right to the phones and talk to Ray Bowles from Prattville Carpet. Hey, Ray, how you doing?
Well, I was doing pretty good until my chickens figured out where my deer feeder is. Now I'm getting a bunch of pictures on my deer feeder of chickens.
That's disappointing and hilarious.
It is. I mean, they're so fat, they're walling around the thing, eating all the corn. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, and they just
I
seem
gotta
so
move the deer
smug
feeder.
about it, too, right?
Yeah, and I'm not even like, this is for like our pleasure to watch the deer at the house. It's not like I'm going to shoot one of them. It's just nice sitting there watching the little deer run around. And the chickens are jerks. They run them off. I won't let them get to the feeder. I don't know what I'm going to do with my chickens. They're not laying eggs. They're useless.
I mean,
This is like
would they be good
first world
eating?
problems, right? I don't know. I don't think Angie would let me do that.
You can always ask permission or ask forgiveness.
You know what? While she's down, I ought to go get a whole chicken and cook it. Try to convince her I killed one of the chickens.
Now that's fun.
I might do that this weekend, guys. I'll let you know how it turns out. But if y'all need a floor and you don't want to be disappointed, guarantee you, just call us, 285-8117. We've actually got some new advertising that we're going to start doing next month in bathroom remodels that we don't talk a lot about. But basically, in a nutshell, I can come in, redo your bathroom for around $349 a month.
Wow.
New shower, new floors, glass, countertops, plumbing, paint, $349 a month if you qualify. So if you're thinking about doing a bathroom remodel, don't forget we can do that also. So call us 285-8117. We'll come out and give you that free measurement. Next thing you know, you got a new floor down. Just that easy.
Again, that number is 285-8117. When you call them up, be sure to tell them you heard Ray Bowles on the air, not just talking about flooring, but chicken.
Yeah, I love my chickens. Once you're a chicken man, you're always a chicken man.
Yeah, I'm yet to
And
cross that
anybody-
threshold.
Yeah. Don't start. Just don't even start, because once you start, you'll never stop. You'll always have them.
Well, hope you have a good rest of the day, Ray, and we'll talk again tomorrow.
All right, guys. We'll see y'all. Bye.
So did we learn anything today, Madeline?
We always learn things together, Joey. What did you learn?
I don't know. I hope there's not a tree in my roof when I get home, that they actually got that job done.
Hopefully so.
It's not anything. That's a hope. I didn't learn anything, really.
Yeah. Well, there's always tomorrow.
No, I've learned that it is going to be a life's work, all this Bible study stuff I think I've been doing.
Oh, yeah.
Which is, in a way, like the best thing I got going on right now. Well, this gig's pretty good, and I love hanging out with my grandfather all the time and rekindling that relationship and so many other things. But, the food's good, and you can drink a little bit, and also, life's good. But having something that I know I can do for the rest of my life, it's all right. It's all right. So maybe that's what I learned today. But anyway, y'all stay tuned. Happy Hour with Greg Budell, Pamela, the whole gang. They're next.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. Bitter cold and no electricity is combining to force many people in the South to leave their homes and head for warming shelters. Meanwhile, the National Weather Service says things will not be warming up anytime soon. In fact, numerous cold records could be set across parts of the South and Northeast in coming days as the Arctic air, in conjunction with a snowpack, keeps lows in the single digits for many of those impacted by the winter storm. The NTSB has been holding a day-long hearing that should make it clear exactly what caused a mid-air collision last year at Reagan National Airport, and board members are stressing that they are not seeking to affix blame to any individual. That collision left 67 people dead. A federal judge in Minnesota has ordered the head of ICE to appear in court and explain why detainees have been denied due process. On Wall Street, a mixed bag. The Dow is down 440 points. This is SRN News.
Have you noticed losing weight is harder than it used to be? You're eating better and exercising, but the scale barely moves? The real problem isn't willpower, it's metabolic dysfunction. And standard dieting just makes it worse. PhD Weight Loss has helped thousands fix the root cause of